gonna just hit
regarding that.
record. What's going
Yeah.
on,
Sounds good.
guys? Here with Joey Bones. We got Chris, Mr. Bones. I hope you don't mind I call you Joey Bones. How's it going?
We call him Bones. We call him
He
Bones.
reminds me of Joey Burrow, Joey B.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, guys?
We were just talking
What's
about
going down?
Chris being passionate.
Yeah.
I was telling him that after the 93s, I mean, I don't know how you felt. I'm very interested to know actually how you felt, Joe. Like, were you just kind of focused on your meet and what you had going on, or was the 93 battle something that you wanted to see as well?
I definitely wanted to see it, but after I competed, I was cooked, right? So I got like 2 hours of sleep, not even. I had no like real food. All I was eating McDonald's and Chipotle. So I didn't actually get to see squats or bench, but I came before deads happened. But I was watching the live stream, so I went out to eat with my wife and my coach. Went out to some like Korean sushi place. It was amazing, all you can eat. So I was grubbing up. But then I went straight from there to the venue to watch. Yeah, I definitely wanted to watch. I'm a fan of the sport,
Hmm.
obviously. Like, this is something I grew up watching. Like, that's funny to say, right? Because not too long ago, powerlifting was just so small, but there's
Yeah.
actual like young juniors nowadays that grew up 14, 15, 16 years old watching guys like Russ, Taylor, and all. So, yeah, I was definitely excited to watch it, but obviously, I was more in tune to my meet and all that.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Did
yeah.
you did it kind of play out how you thought it was gonna play out, or were you expecting like different things to happen?
I knew Gav was obviously going to pull first, right? Keiko's training looked the best in my opinion. Like he was coming in hot. Every lift was fucking blowing up in the gym, hitting massive bench PRs, which is crazy to say when you're already that elite at a lift. Like to carry that much ground or to pick up that much steam when you're the best in the world at something is already insane. So I knew he was gonna come in the strongest ever, sub total demon, and then his deadlift just fucking blew up out of nowhere. So I knew he'd be the man to beat. But I can't count out Petrie when he's the biggest deadlift. So I knew he's the load on whatever he needed. It was more like, all right, how much does Gav have to push Keiko for him to, overshoot or to go over the limit? Clearly it didn't happen. He ended up failing. But I still think Keiko still had 2.5, 5 kilos more anyways. I don't think that was gonna be an issue, like regardless.
Hmm.
But yeah, Petrie loaded up exactly what I thought. It was like 2.5 keys too much in my opinion. So great call on your end. Definitely allowed him to overreach. Also, his second attempt was kind of heavy, but you got to load that second to eclipse everyone, enter first place, and also yeah, I
Actually,
mean it did play out pretty predictably, but definitely it was a fucking show. So but it was
I
definitely
mean,
very very.
I would like to think that, um, I mean, if me and Keiko are physically at the same meet together, and you're watching all the training, like you could count on us, right? Like you could look at what we're doing and be like, yeah, they're gonna do the thing. With
Yeah,
John, we just really got really granular with, like, obviously training is like super tailored to him and optimizing shit, but like the nutrition and the sleep and the food and the, even if it's like we don't even know if this shit is gonna help, but like let's start the day with like a good ass, a good breakfast, like good solid foods, focusing on foods that are just super nutrient dense and things like that, and just really trying to look for little tiny half percents that equal to what we saw there. Like I look at his powerlifting, his open powerlifting, and I'm just so proud of it. I'm just like, fuck, man, like, and I look at every meet and I'm like, I remember when we were there and we did that and how things were and the context of that meet and how we changed things from there to there, and just being able to put that on the platform, it made my job super easy because like Chris was with me, and I'm like, just right. I told him I'm gonna write the attempt if Gavin misses, write the one if he makes it, and we're just gonna wait. And I was talking to the table and I was just like looking at the screen, and then as soon as Gavin didn't get it, I was like, okay, like I thought that Petrie was good for 2 keys less based on what he did in the gym. I don't remember if he actually hit that in the gym. And then I just said, well, I want him to go outside of that. And historically with Petrie, he if he has to do a heavy second, he usually gasses on the third. And this is like if you
happened at
just,
Worlds.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If you, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just a little ad lib right there. Happened at Worlds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He and that's how you have to kind of judge it, right? If you when you're going into these competitions, you have to you have to like prepare based on the characteristics of like what lifters have actually shown you. And I mean, so I thought, wow, like he's taking that. I thought he would go like 370, maybe like a little less, just a little bit less
Yeah.
to put it all on the third, whatever it is. Um, I mean, the 375 moved fine, so I don't know if it gassed him that much. It's probably happening like behind the scenes under the hood. You know what I mean? Like it looks fast, but there's like things happening. And I said, well, I got to push him as high as I can, and John got better on each attempt. So I said, let's just go over what I thought we were gonna end up needing, and let's just try to get that to happen. And luckily it was enough. But um, I mean that was the meet that like you had the three guys where anybody could take it. And I think in sports in general, when I mean if nobody knows who's gonna win and it could go any way, that's what makes it exciting, right? I think for you, I mean even with your meet with Delaney, if we hit all of our top ends and you just do what you did in the gym, like it's still under. Like we need you to miss one, right? And that's
Mhm.
basically how you have to plan. You have to plan for I need Joe to like miss a lift. You did something that was fine because it worked out, but if it's closer and you're not pulling last, is risky to because you give away the third deadlift advantage if you do it on your second, right? So let's say like
Yeah.
some bullshit happens, like you are travel something, there's a small variable that's off and you like miss it, or you like lock it out but it's like weird, and then like now you're stuck, right? And Ade can kind of like put pressure on, you know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen at Worlds. It was just
Mhm.
it was a super bold thing to do. And I think you were just so confident in that, like, I'm going to hit this number. Nobody's going to hit this number. I don't need a third attempt. And that's exactly what happened.
But isn't it safe to say that, like, I gotta believe, Joe, you did that because you know the playing field that you're coming into. So, like, you're obviously if someone's closer, you're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
for
100%.
instance,
Taylor wasn't that far. I mean, that pull was out of range, but
I mean, but you're talking about 900 to 876. What was Taylor? What are we saying Taylor's top end maximum was on the day?
if
With
Joe,
the
if you
thirds,
did
like thirds up.
885, go ahead.
Yeah, with the thirds.
Like, well, he had more on the squat, like 2.5 more on the squat, 2.5 more on the bench. Like all out, Taylor 890, like two, I think, on the day. Like,
I,
So
all
I,
out.
even
I think
then, yeah, even then you still have a comfortable 7.5. It's closer.
Yeah.
You're the whole point is you're coming in where you're like, I can say, this is how I took it. On the first attempt, you told everybody, come get me. And then on the attempt that locked in 900, you said, see ya.
Well, I
And
also
then,
wanted to break Russ's total on that opener, so that was the main mission going
yeah,
into it. Just break
lock that in.
whatever Russ did at Sheffy and just put it out of reach on the
I'm
second.
so sad he didn't hit
Mhm.
the 885. Like him dropping the 883 was like,
Yeah.
now you're just gonna beat it. Like now it's like it's free. It was already like well within range. It was just if Taylor's plan has to be like I can't I can't chase Joe's 9 for 9. I just got to beat his 8 for 8 and hope he misses, but you made it. So does you know what I mean? Like that's the only way that you really have a chance against a competitor that is straight up like stronger than you. You gotta.
Yeah, if I didn't do that tactic, I wouldn't have told him 900, right? There's just no way because
You
Taylor would have
might
been
get
like
yeah.
at 890-ish, and then I would have done 891, right? I would have had to chip it or 890.5. So I was definitely risky for sure,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I was confident because I did 380 in the gym,
Uh-huh.
and I did that after 4 sets of squat back downs, all RP like 8 to 9. I did it after 6 sets of bench, all RP 10,
Uh-huh.
and then I go into deadlift fucking cooked. I still end up pulling 380, right? So I knew 377, three keys less was going to be there. Obviously, I knew it was going to be a fight, but I think the top end of the day, like in that scenario, would have been like 385 because I can grind a deadlift. My grip is on point. I
Yep.
don't have any like weird bobbles on my like. I'm not a deadlift specialist in this sense, like where I'm super leveraged for it. I kind of like muscle my sumo up to a sense.
Hmm.
Like I don't have a super low lockout. I don't have the monkey arms. I got the longer femurs kind of, and I got a slightly longer wingspan than my height. So but I think like I was pretty confident in my execution, and then, like I said, I did more in the gym with worse, with worse scenarios. I was way more cooked going
Yep.
into that. So I was confident in the ability to execute that. Yeah.
Based on, I mean, I got to see you in Raleigh and just how you translated gym to platform. I had no reason to believe that you weren't going to be good for the 900, so I was just like, yeah, I mean, have you heard anyone like kind of say like, oh, he's not going to do that on the platform, or you know, or is
Oh yeah,
everybody
I heard everyone saying that. The majority of people were saying I was gonna win, but I wasn't gonna hit the 900 because of Taylor's pressure, right? Or Delaney's pressure. But
Nah.
but they didn't
yeah,
look
that's the main reason I did the second attempt 900 because I was like, fuck these people.
it's very
I
it's
want I
And,
just want
and,
to fucking
and
win now.
for the record, I was out here saying you were good. I think I said you were good for 902.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I know exactly who told me I was good for it. It was you and Six Pack. That was it. That the
Yeah,
only two people I heard on podcast saying I got 900.
yeah,
I
it was
want, Joe, if you got something, I want to segue to a question that leads. Let me just put it down so I don't forget. But
no,
I want
I
to get
just
into
wanted
the
to
question
say
that.
that it's just very interesting because a lot of younger lifters like when you said I wouldn't have hit the 900, that's literally like style points. Yes, it's an epic number and it's good that you hit it, but it's just interesting how you're able to you had your cake and you ate it too, but it was like there may come a time when I feel that I could totally see you because I feel that you're mature enough to be like I'm putting that on the back burner. I want to get this dub so bad that like I can't even I can't even like mess with that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's I mean it all worked out. Your deadlift is very interesting because it's like the benefit of a conventional deadlift is if the back is stable and the lifter doesn't have any like technical issues, you could just call it on strength and they'll grind it. But you have that on a sumo, so you're able to have that mechanical advantage and you're able to your grip stays solid throughout the entire thing, and that's why like what I think makes you such a good competitor is the weapon that you have is not only like good, but it's stable and it's like you could count on it, right? Whereas like other lifters, like I mean, let's like Jesus's third deadlift sometimes is not going to be there because we might go too heavy and he can't hold it, and it's a stupid amount of weight, right? So it's like it's
Mm.
different. Um, if you have a lifter that's 50-50 on thirds, you got to play to that. Like, well, they're gonna beat us if they make it. So let's play. Let's try to see if that weakness can kind of open up for us. But if somebody like yourself that and more often than not is probably going to pull last. Maybe not at the world level, but like you're going to pull, you're going to be up there. Um, it's it's going to be having that last deadlift. I've always said this. I would rather be 5 kilos weaker and pull last than be 5 kilos stronger and have to go first. It just having the answer, like the number that you need to hit is just such an advantage as opposed to trying to like absolutely max everything out. With some lifters, I could do it like pretty good, but with others, especially when they gain like a lot of strength, I mean, Keiko's bench was pretty easy, right? His deadlift definitely had more. It's like I'm gonna push it up there. It's just I get when you're getting way above what you planned. Now you're starting to get into that weird little realm where it's like, well, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, and also they're doing something they've never done before, so you have to think about those things. But can you think of a situation? Have you ever competed where you weren't pulling last?
Yeah, it was 2022 USAPL Nats. I was 74 going against Eric Lapointe, Pug. Who else was there? Charles Apoco, or I think it's pronounced his last name.
What year was this?
I think 2022, I believe, or was it? No, it was 2022. 2022. And I pulled second to
Was I
last. I
there?
pulled into first. You could have been. Yeah, Russ competed the next day. Yeah, yeah. You probably weren't there in the back room or anything, but you're definitely there at the venue. So yeah, I pulled
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
to
Vegas, right?
yeah, Vegas, Vegas,
All
Vegas.
right.
What
I
the
pulled
hell?
into
We had
first.
a young Joe Borenstein there. We didn't even know it.
I didn't even know.
Hey, I wasn't nobody at the time. I only
What
had like
did
a
you total? What did you total
740
there?
going into it. 740. Yeah, so it was pretty good. I was 19, I believe, so not too bad as a teen, teen three lifter. But I pulled into first place with my third pull, and Eric pulled right after me, just 2.5 keys. Ended up winning it. I came in second, and I forgot who came in third. I think it was Anas Ambar. Came in third place, and that was the only time I've not pulled last. I pulled last against Perk, didn't fucking matter. He wiped me by 50 keys. I didn't pull last at the Arnold, but that's like a dots point, so I'm going against like Bob and Ash and all them, so it doesn't really count. I pulled last at Raleigh in comparison to the other 83s.
Hmm.
Junior Nationals, I snapped my back, so I pulled first. I pulled the blue, and yeah, this meet I did end up pulling last. So historically, when going against at least my own weight class, I am either last or second to last or somewhere around that pack. But like you said, at Worlds, like I doubt I'm pulling last. There's just no way. First of all, Enna is going to load up whatever the fuck he needs, right?
Yeah,
He's
it's gonna
loading
be
up
like, yeah,
430, 440 keys. You know what it is? It's going to be some astronomical number. And I think Ade does have a higher top end on pull. I don't see why he wouldn't because he just did like a 325 for 7 sets. So and talking to him in the DMs, he already claimed 390, 395. So I'm not reaching for that number anyways. I think my top end's 385, like I said.
mm,
And with a such quick turnaround, I'm only trying to get back to that top end and maybe like chip a little bench here or there, chip my
yeah.
squat here or there. So I'm not expecting crazy momentum being built up. But the body does feel pretty good. So I feel strong right now. It's not like I'm going to go in, I'm going to be wiped. Like fatigue is low. So we'll see
I
after these next few blocks.
I'm gonna be there, obviously, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's gonna be a spicy session, that's for sure, because I think I have Alba
Yeah.
going in Cali. But I'll definitely be there, and I'll definitely like obviously be with USA, and it's gonna be fun. I mean, those sessions are always super super fun. But Germany, I've never been, so do you know what days you're
It's
getting
gonna be
there?
lit.
Yeah. What was that?
I was saying, do you know what days you're getting there?
Well, I'm getting there a week early. Like I'm leaving from my SBD session from the gym itself right to the airport. My friend is picking me up from my apartment, going to the gym with me, taking me from the gym to the airport, and yeah, I'm sleeping on the plane. I upgrade to a business class, so I'm
Yes,
laying down, I'm sleeping. I
yes,
leave at like 8 p.m. and I get there at 11 a.m. So it's like the perfect sleep. Like I got this shit timed out, and I'm getting there, and I'm not letting
yes,
anything go. I'm
yes.
crossing all
Oh,
my T's, dotting all my I's. I'm doing everything
Excellent.
I can right now.
The
I love it.
business,
I
if
Yeah.
you
wanna,
could do it,
I wanna,
it's a cheat code.
Bones, Joey Bones. I wanna ask you. So we finally get into these questions. Um, you are what, 21, 22?
22, yeah.
Okay, and based off your self-awareness and your self-assessment, how would you explain, because it seems like you have a good balance of intelligence, but also self-awareness, right? Like sometimes there's like you got the young kids that they're smart, but they just have no self-awareness, right?
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, you also are it seems like you have the ability to touch grass, right? You're not oblivious to the realities of aspects, especially in life and within the sport. It seems like you have a good balance of that.
Mhm.
What would you say is the reason for that? Is it your background? Is it maybe someone influential in your life? What has allowed you to kind of have a good balance on intelligence, self-awareness, just being in touch with the reality of things not only within the sport, but also kind of how life works?
Yeah, so I've always felt like I was very objective growing up. I'm pretty sure that's a subjective statement, but very like trends based, right? So I look at the past, I look at history, and then I predict or make my next move off that. I'm not gonna go and let's say, for example, I'm in the gym and my last 2 weeks felt like shit. I'm not loading the top end. I'm not, like I gotta use data to predict or assess what I gotta do in my following workouts or even in life, like you said. But also it's been pretty like I'm influenced by my close circle, if that makes sense. So you're always gonna be like what's the saying? It's like you're a mush between like your five closest friends. Like
Yeah.
your personality is gonna reflect that. So it's
Yeah,
about surrounding myself.
show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future.
Or show you who you
Exactly,
are, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So growing up, I've always had like a pretty close circle. Not saying like I didn't have other acquaintances or other friends in school and all, but my close circle was always pretty tight. I have like one best friend here and there. I have one best gym friend. I have my wife, and that's pretty much it. Like I got a couple
That's all you
people
need.
in my close circle. What was that?
That's all you need.
That's all. Yeah, that's all we need. And then I have been getting a little more deep into my faith, so relying on that as well. It's a huge cornerstone in my life. So it's just a combination of things that keep me grounded. And I also know powerlifting isn't my like it's my life here on earth and my career, right? But I know there's something greater out there for me, and I want to represent my beliefs and my life and the passion I have in some place that I can, right? And I feel like powerlifting is like that perfect outlet. So with my wife supporting me, keeping me grounded, with my faith keeping me more than grounded. That's all I have basically. And then my friends around me that don't even powerlift, like being able to hang out with them really lets me see outside the box. And I always bring up like questions with them. So one of the biggest ones was whether or not I should go to PA Nats and last year against Russ or do the Arnold, right? So I was like, the chances of beating Russ right now, if I just moved up to 83, is pretty slim. But that chance, if I won, shoots me to Worlds and then World Games and then Sheffield. So I was like, this is a lot to give up. But just thinking what they said, they're like, you're still moving up. The strength gap is too broad, and I don't want to leave $20,000 at the table with the Arnold because that was the prize money. So, and I was a broke college student, and I mean, I just got out of college, so I'm still I'm still not where I want to be. But
20 bands is big.
yeah, 20 bands, it's huge for a college student. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just take all your advice. And obviously I prayed about it. I asked my wife about it or my girlfriend at the time. And yeah, I feel like I made the right decision. And I just do that with a lot of different scenarios. So like going to Worlds, for example, like I knew going to Worlds I was gonna go early, or that's the plan. I have a week in advance. My wife's okay with it, and she made the sacrifice to travel by herself. And that's a huge thing for, you know, a 21-year-old girl going across the globe, but she knows how much it means to me and how much this really matters, and not just my future, but in our future. Because where she wants to be in life, I basically have to lead her there, and I can't do so if I'm not going out here performing to the best of my abilities. I want to build a legacy. I want my kids to be proud of something down the line, and like this is my livelihood. Like I said, here on Earth, this is my career. So I know back in the day this wasn't the case. People just powerlifted as a hobby, and we have other people having, you know, separate jobs outside of this sport. For me to grow up in this, I guess the perfect timing, and see other people finally making an income, whether that be coaching or prize money. And I think down the line, there's going to be more and more incentives, whether that comes through bigger prize pools or just even sponsorships, like with SBD increasing their contracts. I feel like I can finally give it my all in a sport and actually let it pay off and use this as a career path, where in the past it wasn't like this. So yeah, it's a lot of different variables out here that I can give you, but like I said, it's my support circle, it's my faith, and it's just my past history, and I guess my natural instinct to use past data and make objective choices and try to leave the ego side out of this. So
I love that. I love that. Yeah,
That's it.
just to cap you off saying that I think it's I think it's very important. And the reason why I asked that is because we always want to influence in a positive manner, right? Like you're like again, you're 21, 22, you're 22, and there's a lot of, you know, young men and women that I've worked with, I'm sure Joe's worked with, we've experienced that they don't have their head completely all the way on, right? They need a little bit more time to get there, and that's not like this is not for them to be offended, or this is not for them to take it personally or say anything bad. It's more so of like there's a reason why you have your success, right? You have the physical gifts, but you also got the right mindset, right? You have the intelligence, but you also have the ability to like, you know, scale things and kind of just weigh things out. You have a good support system, which is really, really important. And that leads to who are you influenced by, right? You kind of see all these like, there's always this cult thinking or this cult following. And a lot of times the youth, they don't necessarily initially think for themselves. They're more so vessels that kind of just regurgitate information that's just out there on the internet. And then you just have a bunch of like, I forgot what is that from the Pixar movie, those seagulls? They're just like mine, mine, mine. So it's just that everyone's just repeating. Yeah, they're just repeating what they're hearing, but they don't know why they like. Do you actually believe that, or does it just make good logical sense to you? And maybe that's why you're repeating it, but you're not actually going into deeper thought as to why do you actually believe those things. Um, and so yeah, it's just a testament to like, you know, pretty much what I got from what you said was you have a great support system. Those people are very positive, and influential in the right way, and seems like you got some good things going and it's led you. And it's also important for the youth to understand, like, you are not a common, like, lifters like the Kaikos and the Yus and the Russells and Jesuses and things of that nature. Those things don't just come by having like 2 out of the 5 things that you need. It's rare to have physicality, the mentality, the soul, the spirit, the heart, and then also the even mindset as well, that being even kill, right? Not being too high, not being too low. And what I also really love about you being 22 is that, and how special and talented you are. Obviously, we see that you're on the rise and you're going to be representing the country at Worlds. Is that know that you got something special that you're working with, but you're still respectful and you understand the lineage of what you're doing and the history of it, right? All the 83s that came before you, and now you're that next 83 that community in the world is proceeding that Ade or any other 83 doesn't do anything else about it. If you're to be successful, you would be the next 83 to carry that, right? Um, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I just wanted to touch on that because I really hope that guys and girls your age can learn from that. So it's
Thank you,
good.
man. Thank
Yeah.
I was just curious if you had done any prior sports or sort of extracurriculars that you were able to draw skills from, so that when you got into powerlifting and you dealt with the adversities that come with that you're gonna do better in the sport because you learned from something else that was maybe much more difficult, or if you started powerlifting young enough to where you literally just got into it so early and you were dealing with all the stumbles and the trial and error and learning and all those things, that you're able to sort of grow as a person and compile those data points, so that way now when you're present you have all that past time and experience to extrapolate from to allow you to kind of be the lifter that you are today.
you. Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of both. So I did play baseball for 11 years growing up,
Oh yeah,
and I did
that'll
like
teach you how to deal with bullshit.
it makes it teaches you how to deal with failure a lot because you fail 7 out of 10 times, and you're one of the best players on the team at
Yeah.
hitting the ball, right? So but I did that growing up, and then I did I think a couple of years of martial arts, which is it's pretty brutal, getting hit all the time and
Yeah.
all the cardio intensive work. That teaches you a lot of discipline. But so I think I got the discipline aspect
Very
from the
good.
martial arts, and then I got I didn't see I played baseball, but I didn't really enjoy it to the
It's fucking
full amount
miserable,
that I
dude.
think I should have. Yeah, so I played, and then I got into the gym, and because I wanted to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and just be better on the field. But after some time, I was like, you know what? Like, I found myself not practicing enough, and instead just lifting weights. Enjoy the process of lifting more than being on the field because it's such a team oriented sport. Like, not one person can carry a baseball team, right? You rely on the 8 other players on the field with you. So it felt like even if I did good, the outcome wouldn't change the most. Or even if I did bad, our team might still perform. And I didn't have like the best relationship with the team. Like, I had like some really good. My best friend was on the team as well, but it was kind of like split between like the upperclassmen, the lowerclassmen, and I'm like, I'm not bonding with you guys, and I really don't fuck with you. So I didn't have
Uh,
that team aspect that I really wanted, and I really had the really tight aspect with like 2 to 3 players on the team that we were like best buds. We always used to hang out, and I think that's why I really focused on like a close circle friendship rather than a community style type of thing. But yeah, I still learned a bunch of valuable lessons. Like I said, learning how to fail and being okay with failing, performing under pressure when you're up at bat, you're at the full count, bases loaded. Like your heart is racing, my man, and being able to execute in that position really helps in powerlifting when you only got one shot to prove yourself. Right? You train for a whole fucking year just for 9 attempts, and 3 of those attempts are the ones that truly matter. So that definitely helped me basically reduce, or not reduce, but get used to the spotlight almost. And I'm not gonna say like I don't regret playing baseball. I definitely don't. I loved it, but yeah, powerlifting is is my number one passion, and I got into it when I was 14. I saw Larry Wheels on YouTube. I saw Jeff Nippert. He was competing. Candido was competing. And then I got into Russ, and Russ was finally blowing up at the time. He won his first world like 2 years later. So, yeah, like I definitely had a lot of influence in the sport, and just being able to see that Things actually competitive. There's actually lifters going head to head, fighting with, you know, not against each other, but fighting for the goal at hand. Like if you want a world championship, you have to take it from me, right? So I feel like being able to see that at such a young age, and like I said, I got to the sport at the perfect timing. Like I was born at the perfect time to see all this evolution. Like I'm not too old to the point where I'm out of my prime right now, but I'm not too young where I'm only coming in. I'm like, oh, wait, what's Sheffield? You know what I mean? Like, I saw Sheffield develop. I saw these worlds develop. I remember when Worlds was Masters, Junior, and Open all together. So yeah, the time I came in is perfect. The people that influenced me at the time, like they were ascending at the perfect time as well with Russ and Taylor and all them. So yeah, it's a combination of people and yeah, growing up with the or the sports background that did help as well. But I think majority of my dedication and the values I have now did come from powerlifting and watching these people, as I grew up and watch them succeed and watch them be, proper role models to us.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. So
I
I got
Go ahead, Chris. Oh, I
and
wanted to finish that.
go ahead.
When was the last time in the outside the sin that you went into a meet and you were like truly nervous? You truly felt like,
Well,
okay, like
it was Raleigh, yeah.
what?
I had to been because I was still recovering from an injury, so I had no idea how I was gonna feel in the day, and I didn't know whether like my squats would pass because I failed my third attempt or my second attempt at junior nationals right before on depth. So I was worried about squat depth. I was worried about my back snapping again with such heavy loads on the back, and I had no idea how the body was gonna respond. So I was nervous, not for my own like execution sake, but just how my body would hold up under the sheer loads with such a quick turnaround.
The reason why I say that is because as cool as as cool as the Nationals performances were and stuff, I didn't really feel that nervous. I was happy. And it's kind of weird, right? Because like, okay, were you proud after your performance or were you like, well, I expected that, so like, good job me, but like, I know I could do better.
I mean, I was happy, but I wouldn't call it proud. I mean, I was
Yeah, yeah.
grateful to experience everything and go against everyone, but I knew it's almost like in NBA where making to the finals is cool, right? But the job
You
ain't
got
finished. You know
yeah,
what you have to do. It makes no difference to me whether I lose Nats or I lose Worlds. It's still an L, and the main mission is collecting that Worlds chip. So I thought it was cool and all. I was hype as fuck. I was like, all right, I'm making it out of the states. But immediately after, like right after that meet, me and my coach went to our hotel room and planned the entire
yeah.
prep for Worlds, and
That
we
was
know exactly where we're going now. We
that
we lined
was
everything up. We got our sights aimed right now. So
that was me after Worlds with Russ. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is how you're gonna beat them at Sheffield. Like it was like, and I had so much confidence on the day because I had vision, I had planned it from back then, and I was like, okay, when people the day before when I got to Sheffield, you see the fans that are gonna come watch it the next day. Maybe I'm out eating somewhere or I'm at the gym, and they're like, "Are you nervous? Are you scared? Whatever." And I'm like, "Dude, I've been fucking thinking about January 26th since fucking June, and we did everything that we were supposed to do. We had no injuries. We ate right. We did everything we were supposed to do. Great communication. We're on the same page. I actually feel fucking great, and I want to do this shit." When that first
yeah,
squat, when he hit that third squat, I was like, that's it. We scripted it, you know what I mean? And then it becomes kind of easy. But then after, and this is why I asked you if you felt happy. I was like, yeah, like we did the thing, but like it was what it's like when you expect it and you do it. It's kind of weird, man. And you're still, I get to watch you be so fucking hungry and excited for that first world title, right? Chris said I did this like 18 times. They keep track. I don't even know what the fuck's happening, right? So for me, it's like if I
oh
do it, it's what I expect to do and what everyone expects me to do. If we don't do it though, you see what happened with Russ last year at
yeah,
Worlds. It is like the end of the world. They're gonna highlight reel the shit out of it. It is being in the room. I cannot tell you. Like I've been in electric rooms, like when Jesus won Sheffield, right? That shit was crazy. It was
yeah,
fucked, right? But the opposite, like or when Cali beat Taylor and the whole Swedish country was there and it was like that was insane because it was unexpected. And then to feel that the next year happened to not only to me but to fucking Russ, right? And to feel those emotions, and I consider myself like a fucking bro. I'm like, there's very few things that get me stimulated in the sport, right? Because I've just done it. Losing that made me feel something, and I was like, okay, I have this. I'm gonna show them what we could do. You know what I mean? And it just really kind of fired things up for me, and I needed that to be able to be so calm at Sheffield and at Nats with Keiko to just be chill. And I think for you right now, you have that. You have that young, like, I'm gonna fucking prove everyone that I am gonna be world champ. Let me tell you, Joe. I love everybody. I love we love everybody in the world. We love all the 83s, right? But I am telling you right now, you have there's a target on you. The international gun is pointed at you. You know what I mean? Do you think they want to let you come up in there and just take that? Absolutely not.
They're having
I
meetings. They're
feel
calling
it
each
because
other.
that
They're having
gun
meetings. No, I'm dead ass.
that gun
They
was
really
pointed
are.
at me and Russ forever, at Russ forever, and I hear the things, and I'm hearing and they're joking, but that's actually a diss. You know what I mean? And it's like it just makes you want to fucking do it that much more. And I know, and this is something that I saw about you at Raleigh. I saw it about you at this meet, and it's a characteristic that I can count on from you. It is a you can bet that Joe's going to show up and be a competitor. You can bet that he's not going to be worried about his training. He's not going to be worried about how strong he's going to be on the day. He's going to have fun and he's going to execute. And I think when you're prepared, it gets rid of all the fear. It gets rid of all there's like, bro, I'm not worried about nothing. You just said it yourself. You said, well, I hit this number in the gym, beat to fuck. Like everything was worse when I hit it. And there's no reason why I shouldn't manifest it on the platform. It's the same thing when I did my last Arnold and Tina loads 340 on squat and I'm like, bro, I'm about to hit that. It's 6 a.m. for me. I'm tired of shit. Like that's scary. Like I don't know how I'm gonna hit that. But then I started thinking the logical side of me because the emotion comes first. And I was like, well, I did hit this in the gym and I doubled that. And when I hit the 340 in the gym, it was fucking easy. And da 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 da. And I was like, okay, well. And then you start to go, I have this. Like on paper, I fucking have this. Why am I tripping? And I just blew it up. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. Like it's interesting. Like the emotions come and you feel those emotions and it's like kind of your mind messing with you. But then you just drown that shit out with like logic and like facts and like you just do it and that gives you the confidence to go into a big meet where everybody's sort of saying are you nervous or whatever and you're like well I'm so prepared that like I think feeling nerves would be you could feel like fired up you could feel adrenaline but I've never really seen you be like and me and Chris have seen lifters that they talk really big on social media they put off this sort of expression of confidence, but it's not truly confidence. It's more of like, I'm scared, so I'm going to be loud, right? And then in the moment, when the shit hits the fan, you see it. And then there's the two types of competitors. I always say, you either rise to the occasion and meet the threat, or you're going to like crumble. And when you hurt your back at that meet, we didn't know what kind of lifter Joe was going to be. We said, is he, I don't even know if you had another 83 there to pressure you, or 74. I don't even know what weight class you did. But yeah,
it was 83, yeah.
yeah, at that nationals, right?
Yeah,
And we didn't
He
know
was
you.
right in front of me on the platform. He was like, I saw him like taking 3 reds like 6 different times. He's like, oh, I gotta see the backs. I gotta keep it hot.
Yeah, I tried all I had to do was pull 600 and I would have qualified for Worlds. I failed 3 reps 5 times and I tried with straps, I tried conventional. It was getting bad. I was like, all right, the plan was to do this because I had to keep my back like warmed up. And I was like, all right, what if I just AMRAP 3 reds until my attempt, go out there real quick, hit it while I'm
Just
warm? Nothing wasn't
and
working. Nothing was working.
but it's
But
crazy because the storyline of just how reality played out, like that was adversity, right? Like literally, like there's no, as far as I understood, there was nobody that was in contention with you um at Junior Nats, and
Yeah.
it's like you just need 600. You've done X before. You just need 600, and you don't get it. And what that could do to a young individual, it could destroy them, right? Some kids I hate to say this, some kids quit off of
Yeah.
stuff like that. They quit, which I can't understand. But you go to Junior Worlds, and let's say you had and then you go to Junior Worlds and you break, just like what's her name, Jessica, the 47,
Yeah.
um, Espinal, right?
Yes.
Espinal.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
you go to Junior Worlds, break the world record, right? Let's say you obliterate it or you hit it considerably, right? You beat it considerably, and then you could have gone to Sheffield earlier potentially, right?
Mhm.
But you don't. And then what do? You lock in, and then you go to Raleigh. And then it's like, okay, then we finally get to see, like, all right, we see bro's potential. Then you go to Nats, and then you say, no, 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 this is who I am. This is what I said I was gonna do, and I'm keeping my word. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's another thing I think is very special with competitors. I have some questions about that later that I want the community to understand. Is like a lot of times people are so scared to make predictions or say something or be bold. They're scared to be bold, right? Because they know that if it doesn't come to fruition, it looks stupid, right? But then you have those competitors that have that confidence, and people don't understand it, so they look at it as being like egotistical or just overly confident, whatever the case may be. But with greatness, there has been great athletes that said, "I'm going to do this," and people are like, "How dare you speak of such feats," or whatever the
You
case may
gotta
be,
believe
and
it though.
maybe they dislike them or whatever, right? But then you go out and do what you said you're going to do. You're doing that at a young age, and that's very hard to do, and that's special. So, yeah, just wanted to touch on just how reality played out. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah,
Uh,
we had question marks about you then, and then once you did the Raleigh
You
performance,
answered them.
he got it together, and then we said, well, that was like a little blip. I don't really feel like that's indicative of what he's going to be going forward. The Raleigh was really good. I think he's going to probably manifest that, and you did. And now I'm sure the questions are going to be, well, can he do it overseas? And is he going to be able to do this, do that, da 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 da? And I think you are the type of person that is going to micromanage all the little things. Like for me, I have a lot of like super talented lifters, and a couple of them, especially some of the younger ones, they don't have that. They don't. Alba does this like really good, which is why I love working with her. But she'll look at every little small little tiny thing and like make it better. And then you have
yeah.
other lifters that are like they're super fucking gifted. They they can train hard. They could train hard, no problem, you know. But they don't know how much they're eating, or they don't really know what's going on with their water, or their sleep is just kind of like whatever, or they might do extracurriculars and then go train, and like maybe they still have a good training, and then they think, oh, I could just keep doing that. Dude, it could be even better if you lock in, right? And these are little things that not everybody has, and the fact that you have that down, it is it is something that takes time. Like I'm not gonna lie, um, keeping Russ at 83 requires a lot of mental energy capacity to keep his weight down, to keep him locked in, to keep him sacrificing, to keep him doing those things. And you saw at that Worlds like what happens when we just everything out the window. Um, so the fact that you have that handled, I mean, that's so huge. And to have that down now, it's, I mean, it's like everything, man. And yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. So, um, kind of, I guess this will be a good segue off of that. So, pretty much, I'm gonna preface this real quick. So, you have guys like, again, um, I could say you are one of them. I see it. Jonathan Keiko, like he's disgusting when it comes to like literally knowing every single detail, every single variable.
Yeah.
Um,
bro, we be
like
getting hormones
literally
checked. We check the body. We check the stress. We make
when we
sure.
were when we were warming up at Nats, I was talking to him about kind of about his nutrition and while we were recomping after he made weight. This guy told me by the gram exactly of every type of food that he intakes, like chia seeds, flax seeds, non-fat Chobani Greek yogurt, the amount of grams of rice, the type of rice, the ground beef, the steak, the chicken, type of vegetables, the fruits, the berries, everything to the gram, the amount of water, the liters, like everything, everything, electrolytes, potassium. It was insane, right? And you're not able to say that unless you repeat that for a long period of time. And that's your daily regimen, right? So now you just have it memorized because he's been doing it for 8 months, whole year, 12, whatever, right? Guys like him, that's 193. And he also has the talent and the genetics for the type of bench that he has. He has enough strength and the build for the squat and the deadlift, right? Then you have guys like Gustav, in my opinion, that I saw Gustav. I didn't know of Gustav as the guy, right? For 9, 10 years. I saw him make it to Worlds, lose. Make it to Worlds and lose. Or,
He didn't have
nationals.
variables. He didn't have variables locked in. He was just like strong
And
and worked a job.
so once he did lock that in, right? And once he did, he worked and he learned he worked his way up for about a decade. And on that ninth or 10th year, he went crazy, right? He won Sheffy and then he won Worlds. He had a year undeniably, right? Um, my opinion, I wouldn't say that Gustav is necessarily he worked for a decade. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily freakish. You can't overlook the 10 years of work and trial and error, right? And sticking with it. So I preface all that to say you've got like genetics and locking in, right? And you have just like pure hard work and locking in, right? And I'm not taking nothing away from either one. But with that preface, I asked to you, what would you say to the kids that see the Jonathan Kaikos or you or the Gustavs, and they just make up in their head, they have that mindset like, oh, I see a Joe Borenstein already. I don't have a shot. And they're looking, because their mindset, they have that they want that quick fix. They want that quick result, right? And they look at you and they see how fast you've attained success, right? But they also don't look at, like, for instance, we're talking about you in what,
His first meet
2022,
was
2023?
2018.
Yeah.
What was that?
His first meet was 2018, so it wasn't that. It was like 7 years already.
But what I'm prefacing is that you have been working at this for a while, but um kids are tied to like, I should be amazing in 2 years. You know what I mean? So, off of me prefacing this, what do you say to those kids that make up their mind? They see you or the other top dogs. They see maybe a Rondell Hunt or they see a Nonso and they say, I mean, Nonso's different, right? Nonso, he's been in the game for like what, 2, 3 years,
I
something
think
like
so,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Find
Right.
out.
Around.
I think
I'll
he's been
find out.
lifting for. I think he's been really at it for like 2, 3 years, right? Because
And
he's also
Gakko,
super young.
what's other 120 British and Gakko, right?
Goka.
And Goka. I say this to say, what do you say to the kids that immediately make up in their mind that because there's you or Perk or a Jesus or whoever, right? I'm just never gonna get there. It's over with. I'm gonna just try to have fun. And I feel like kids they say like I'm gonna just have fun and enjoy my time because it takes off the stress. Because truly deep down inside, they want what you have or the
Yeah.
others have. They want who doesn't want to be the best in the world? Because of how far you are, they look at that and they immediately eliminate that possibility. What do you
Mm.
say to those kids with that type of mindset?
It's very hard to change somebody's like born like because your mindset comes from like your genetics, but also your environment, right? So like growing up in the sport, like when I first started, I was 300-400 keys away from the top competitors. But I just thought of it, like I said, I think logically and objectively. I look at my rate of progress, you add a little bit of delusion in that bitch, and then you're like, all right, how
Yeah.
far can I get now?
Which
If
is
I'm getting
good. You need that. You need a little.
you'd be like, I'm adding 70 keys a year. If I keep pace at it or maybe get stronger at a faster rate, then that's not gonna happen, obviously. But that's where the delusion comes in. That's where you gotta throw it in and say that maybe 4 to 5 years, I got it. But yes, you're right. Like, especially with the kids nowadays, like the 14, 15-year-olds growing up in this day and age, it's all about instant gratification, right? Everyone's trying to dopamine max and
TikTok.
doom scroll and all that.
Oh,
Everyone wants to be
Max.
yeah, everyone wants to be happy in this moment and not delay it for the bigger picture. Um, So it's very, very hard. So in this case, I would just recommend a coach. Like, because coaches can kind of morph and manifest their will onto them. And if they're especially if they're real tight and they trust them, I'd say getting a coach is like the biggest thing. Getting or having a good like close circle, like that matters the most in my opinion. Because even the kids at my gym sometimes, like, I ask them what their goals are, and they'll tell me like their goal for next meet. But I'm like, what? No, what's the goal? What is the grandiose 5 years down the line? Where do you want to be? Half the times they say, I don't know. Hopefully, still lifting, right? So it's something that you have to be almost born with, but also the environment takes a huge role in this scenario. But it's you're not going to start. You're not going to start at the top. That's the main basis, right? You're not going to be the best out the gate unless you're Ngako or Nojo or Elliot Sykes. Like those guys came out the
Almost
gate and
never happens.
exactly like even just look at Elliot at 15 years old, 66. He was stronger than me at 18, 74. So the rate of these kids and how much stronger they are just compared to like 4 years ago is insane. So the talent pool just keeps increasing. You're gonna have more of these genetic outliers, but also the environment in this sport has to be promoted that it's not the short term, it's the long term. So things like cutting weight also is a fucking huge detriment in my opinion to these younger lifters. Like we shouldn't be promoting any sort of weight drops. Like people look at Shell and all that. Yes, that's amazing. He's damn near almost 40, right? He's almost a master's lifter. So in this case, when you max out your genetic potential, when you max out the muscle mass, then maybe you can think about dropping down a class. A lot of these kids are trying to get stuck into a weight class when they're not even thinking about how much potential they truly have at such a young age. And like like my ex athlete and now Joe's new athlete, he wanted to be an 83. He was way too damn tall, and I try to tell him, I try to show him the pathway. I was like, yo, you gotta be at least 93 in the short term, maybe 105. Bro wanted to cut to 83 at 6'1". I wasn't the right I couldn't he didn't listen to me. I wasn't the right person to shift his perspective, and I knew he needed a different coach. I begged Joe to take him on. Thank God he did. But yeah, it's all about who you're surrounded with, who your coach is, what the atmosphere is like in your gym, in your close circle. But yeah, just surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with like-minded people, and it's just the long game, man. Powerlifting is a lifelong sport. I'm going to be in this sport for the rest of my life, in my opinion. Even if I get injured and I'm 90 years old, I'll be a ref or something. You know what I mean? So I always plan on staying in this sport for the long term, regardless of what happens and how big the talent pool becomes. And yeah, this is not a short term gratification thing. You're not going to get strong overnight. It's going to take years on end. And I'm not even close to where I want to be yet. So yeah, I'm looking down the road 5, 10 years. And yeah, these kids just got to understand that wait, you ain't gonna be world champ this year. You ain't gonna be world champ in 10 years, maybe. It may take 15. Like, just look at Chance Mitchell's open powerlifting. How long did it take Chance Mitchell to go from ground zero to where he is now? I mean, now I don't know where he is, but when he won the world title, he chipped 10 keys, 10
Yeah,
keys, 10 keys, 10 keys.
and even
Good.
then, like John did not have all his tools at his disposal. So an opportunity
Yeah.
had to arise, right? So that was that I mean, you what you guys are talking about and what you said is totally true, and I think what can help those kids get to that point where they can see the success is if I look at your stats, you've been doing this 7 years. Yes, Nonso has only been doing it for three, literally three. His first meet was 3 years ago, by like a month or
Yeah.
two, and
Which is insane.
he went from
Yeah.
1400 to 2130, um, in
That's
that
not
time,
common.
No.
in that time frame. But if you love the everyday, you love to wake up, you love to go to the gym, you love to train, you love to eat food that's going to help you be better, you love to put in the work so that you can be better at the thing you spend a lot of time doing, that's gonna that then it becomes like you're just having fun, and then as years go by, you're gonna look back and be like, oh snap, I've been consistent at this thing for 5 years. I'm actually kind of good now. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
opportunities can pop up. It's not just, but but that's the thing. I think people look at, they see, maybe they see your following, they see your lifts, they see something, or about you or any younger lifter, and or the benefits that you're getting, whatever, and they think, I want that, but they don't see how much time it took to get there, and they want it. Like they don't realize, like, oh snap, I'm gonna have to put in this much work to get this much progress. Do I really want to chip away for this much time? So it's one of those
Not
things.
everybody is willing to dedicate and put in the work like that. And then once they realize, okay, I'm gonna have to really match these elite guys' work ethic for this duration of time, they end up quitting or whatever the case may be. But it's good. Sorry to cut you off. I'll let you get back to it, Joe. It's good to hear you say and for the young guys and girls to hear it from your perspective. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's if you do something long enough and you keep stacking the chips, then you can look back, and I'm telling you right now, I'm sure Joe feels this way. I hit weights I never thought would even be possible. I can't even conceive the fact that I had these weights on my back. I don't know. I don't know. Joe, you probably have more delusion than I did. You're probably like, yeah, I knew I could hit all this shit. I don't know.
No,
You know what I'm saying? Like the
definitely
fact
not.
that you could hold what you hold in your hands, like on bench, right? You hold what you hold in your hand on bench, and you can hit it that way. You
It's
don't have you
crazy.
don't have a cheater bench. You're not doing anything like that. Someone's gonna look at and be like, bro, you should post on TikTok. I don't know if you do, but you should like literally, yeah, literally
I
like.
like I did like the guess how much I could squat at
No, not
17,
like stupid
160.
shit. Just like, no, just
It
post,
blew up.
just
1.1 mil. It
uh,
blew up. It was a nice trend. It was
there's a
a
lot
nice
of
trend.
kids on there that are gonna see that and be like, what the fuck, right? And that's, like if Joy poaches, posts 225 on bench, if she posts that on there and she's like, young, I don't know how old she is now, but at the time when she was like 18, 19, obviously people are gonna see that and like freak out, right? And it's just very
Yeah.
interesting because people only know what they know. And I'm sure you've probably seen this. We're in the sport, right? Like we're fucking deep in the shit of it. People, when they look at certain numbers to the outside, it's like, this is impossible. Surely this person's on steroids. And for
Yeah.
us, it's like that's like kind of like that's like a shitty that's like a top 10 lift. It's like, it's not that good, but they're just not used to seeing it. If you take any top 5 powerlifter, take them to like a commercial gym and have them do their best lift on 45s at 5 o'clock in Los Angeles at LA Fitness, there's gonna be like 100 people staring at you. Like, what is this thing that this person is doing, right? But to
Yeah, they're not
us,
gonna understand what they're seeing.
it's like a fatigued, like middle of the week lower body day. You know what I'm saying? Like they just don't get it, and it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it just goes to show those people are all at the point that they're at in their journey, right? They lift, they probably don't lift to train or whatever to be better. When people, I don't remember the last time we had a commercial gym, but when I'm in a commercial gym and if I'm lifting something that's heavy and somebody goes, "Dang man, like you must be really good at that," or "That's crazy, I can never," and it's like, well, I've been doing it a long time. I've been doing it a really really long time, and I do it with some sort of structure, and I kind of know, how to react to certain things, and um, it just goes to show that you'd be surprised how far you could get at something if you just give it a little bit of effort. And one thing that I do love about powerlifting, and I'm sure that I think you're an example of this showing as, you as a person, but also as a lifter, is that if you take that work ethic that you have towards being good at a sport or anything, and you take that energy and you direct it towards yourself or your relationship with God or relationship with your family or your friends, you'd be surprised at how much you can improve something or make something better because you already have the skills to sort of train that engine and get those fucking neurons firing to put you in a position to enrich those relationships and be better at your job and be a better coach or be a better lifter. I'm saying coach because that's what you do. Um, but yeah, it's there's so many benefits to powerlifting other than the big total or the
Hmm.
celebration at the end. It's like my football coach used to say, everybody sees the receiver running into the end zone, taking pictures, getting the girls, getting the deals, doing all the things, but they don't understand the work that they had to put in to be able to be in that position. Dude, your practice is hours and hours and hours and that's like a skill sport, right? That's different. That one you literally can get better putting in more time. And there's never enough time that you could put in. It's not like um, powerlifting where like you don't want to just squat forever. You want to do enough to be better, and then
Yeah.
you got to respect the body and heal. So But yeah, that's all I
I,
wanted to
I
say.
want to say, just to close that out, but pretty much have a good even keel balance of, you know, be aware of your data, study your trends, but it's okay to be a little delusional, right? It's okay to be a little delusional, have aspirations, right? Um, Work your tail off, but also have some tough skin about you, especially for the young guys and girls. Like, if you go through a devastating meet, right? What's devastating? What, you didn't hit the total that you wanted, or maybe you lost to somebody that you wanted to beat, right? Or there's even more examples, right? Have some tough skin about you. Like, stay in the thickness of the grief of your current time in that career. So what I mean by that is, like, if you lose, or if you get devastated, or if you get sad about not hitting a goal, have a little toughness and figure out why that didn't happen. Why, you know what I mean? Be dedicated to something and ask yourself, have you ever dedicated to anything? Is it really worth it to you, right? And what does it mean to stay dedicated and see it through, right? Like a lot of times, young athletes I see today, like, I always think, sometimes the ones that I have good relationships with, I ask them, you know, what do you have in your life that's meaningful or worth fighting for? Is powerlifting one of those things? You actually want to be great, or do you just see the Joe Borensteins and others, and you don't understand that Joe Borenstein went through blowing his back exploding, and had to go back to training, and there's Delaney Wallace he has to overcome. There's Russ's totals, there's Taylor Atwoods and all the 83s he just had to see, right? They don't see that work that's put behind, and how you've been in it. Yeah, you're 22, but you've been, what, powerlifting since, what, 15,
Yep.
right? And you've been going through trial and error, and you've been sticking to your tight circle group, right? So it's like, I want to um promote to the youth, and even to maybe 30-year-olds that want to do this. Someone wants to start at 30, right? Or 40 or 50, whatever. Have some grit about yourself. Dedicate to something. Understand the playing field and what it actually takes, and then understand what it means to work hard in powerlifting and see things through. Like, don't just quit just because you don't get what you want within the first year or two. Um, I think it's really important to send that message, because there's often times where I see people in the sport, at especially a young age, they quit way too early. It's like, you fail a deadlift, it's like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm gonna go golf or play tennis or whatever. And
Did
it's
you
just
ever
like,
think
dog,
about
that's
quitting, Joe?
insane.
Probably not. So to backtrack a bit, I think like the main point we have to get across is that like you have to love the process. Like that's number one. If you ain't love the process, you ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? So like loving the process is it should be the main objective, and then the results, like the titles, the totals, the success, is a
Comes with,
byproduct.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just a reward. That's not what you should be chasing after. You should be chasing after the small little details, making sure those are perfect. Waking up, like you said, loving what you do, wanting to go train on your quaternary bench day. You know what I mean? Like, and enjoying everything you do, because powerlifting at the end of the day is a privilege. Not everyone gets the right to allocate 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week to a hobby like this. So you should be grateful, be happy that your body is functioning, you have an able body, and also just enjoy and love the process, because this sport is for everyone. You can be 60, you could be 15, it doesn't matter. It is applicable to every person on earth if they have the time available to them. So just love what you do, or try to find that love, and through that love, you'll develop things like grit, passion. You'll be able to manifest goals down the line, but you have to like the day to day process first before all else. And that's what I basically fell in love with, the day to day. Not saying that I wake up some days and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. Like, yes, those days happen. Sometimes I don't feel the best, but getting to the gym, warming up, that's the hardest part of the day. And then once you get that blood flowing, you start really enjoying it. So I haven't had any thoughts of truly quitting. I've always thought this would be either a profession, or I'll just use it as a hobby or an outlet of my life. Because I always liked lifting weights. I was addicted to getting strong. And I remember when I was like 6, 7 years old watching Strongman, and I was like, these guys are fucking like real life Hulks. And it was so inspiring to me to see how much the human body can push itself and how strong a human can actually be. So I was always addicted to that side of the of physiology and human performance. And I knew powerlifting was a great outlet for me for the rest of my life, whether I make it pro or make it a career or not. And it just happened that my genetics carried me through with my dedication. And the main basis of this was just loving the day to day, meticulous little variables that I have to make sure are locked in. And I'm not saying I was perfect from day one. Obviously, growing up, I had a full time. I had 8 hours of school. Right, I had two jobs. So my variables were pretty shitty. I couldn't train on comp equipment because the gym was too far. I didn't have a car even. So I did the best I can with the circumstances given, and then as life became more narrow and as my career began to develop, and I was able to expand my coaching and I got stronger. I was able to funnel all the variables. Sooner or later, I wasn't waking up at 5 a.m. to work anymore. I was waking up at 9 a.m. now. So slowly but surely, I was able to rise up until I got to the point where I want to be. It just all accumulated and snowballed together. But the main basis, to backtrack one more time, is the love of the process, love of the sport, and just loving the day to day work, basically.
When did you realize that you could do this full time? And when did you yeah, when did you cuz did you get into the sport thinking, "Oh, I'm going to coach one day and that's going to be my full-time job," or was there a point where like halfway
My
through
main,
where you were like, "Oh shit, I could actually do this."
yeah, so I'd say right after getting out of high school, I was planning on going to like PT school, and because I wanted to study physiology and anatomy. Like I did major in kinesiology, and that was like the gateway to PT. But then right after high school, as I was getting into my degree, I noticed my numbers kept going up. I noticed that I was able to expand my roster size, one athlete a week, for example. And I got to the point where I was like, hold up, like I don't have to work two jobs anymore. I can just work one. And then a year later, hold up, I can easily make this full time right now. So it wasn't something I just shot for. It was more so a reward of, like I said, the process. So I wasn't shooting for it. I wasn't like, if I don't make it in coaching, I'm gonna be a hobo. Like no. The main mission was a stable 9 to 5 career, just like every other powerlifter at the time was doing. And only as of recent, it's been applicable to become a full time coach and get your name out there as a high level athlete. So yeah, I wanted to do. I always wanted to do something with the body in sports and exercise, and it just became a byproduct of, like I said, the passion I had.
It's very interesting to hear you say that because I did not even ever think to do this full time. I was a full-time trainer. I did a lot of jobs. I did security. I was a full-time trainer. I did bouncing at night. I was a personal assistant for this lawyer, super wealthy lawyer. I did a lot of random stuff, and then just doing powerlifting, like people were asking me like if I could teach them that. And as I started doing it more at the time that I did it, because I did it, I mean, you were probably 12 years old. Um,
Yeah.
and the internet was very different, and I just started doing it because I did it for fun. It was fun. It was just like a fun thing that I did. I liked bodybuilding, but I also was like pretty strong. And then I noticed when I told you that story, when I said if you're in the gym, like I was literally squatting five, it was 495, and I was doing sets of five paused with this super jacked, like not natty bodybuilder guy that was like my friend. His name was Jared, and he was just spotting me. And it was like 5 o'clock after I got off. I was training people from like 9 in the morning. It was like 5 or 6:30, and then I finished, had my chicken and rice, warm up, do some da da da, and then I would start. We started training, and like he would just do what I would do, and he could do anything because he was like big as fuck, right? Um, and I turned around and I just see everybody looking at me, and I'm like, this is something. Like this is I don't know what this is right now, but like this is people are looking at me, right? And then people started asking me, and I just did everything was like natural. Like first I coached like Tina and like my friend, and then they did meets, and then I started meeting more people, and then it just started snowballing. And then John Hack won a world championship, and that changed everything. And then I did it again with more people, and it just snowballed. And it was like one of those things that um, hearing you tell your story, how it just kind of it just started happening. Like you weren't like actively, this is what I want to do. I want to do this only. You just kind of pursued the thing that you enjoy doing, and it happened. It just started to happen naturally. And I think actually that there's a beautiful thing about that because I think a lot of people get into it or they do it. And I almost put this in my story the other day, and I wanted to ask people, like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you trying to get from powerlifting? Do you truly love it? I started powerlifting, there was nothing to post. My girlfriend at the time told me to post, and I was like, that's stupid. Why the fuck would I post my lifts? That's literally dumb as hell. Like, why would I do that? And then over time, I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just do it. And I didn't care about likes at all ever. I literally never, ever, ever gave a shit about likes ever. I just did it to do it. And then just one thing led to another, and it was just like a very natural thing. I feel now, and you could let me know because I'm sure my perspective will probably, you have like the two bubbles, the bubble graphs, and then they cross, and we might have a middle section that's kind of like similar. Um, I feel like now because of the amount of information that's out there, everybody wants to coach, right? I feel like people are they want to start coaching before they should. Now I think that an early coach can help a early coach, right? Like an intermediate could probably help a beginner, but I feel that they don't have that sort of love for the day to day, the love for the grind. They would be doing this regardless whether they were getting paid or not, right? And they do it with the sort of like they just want lifters, right? And I think if you we talked about this in the last podcast with Russ, like someone asked, how can you make a name for yourself in powerlifting? I think we both like I was never a world champion powerlifter, right? I did it a different way than you did. And I think we're two examples of like, Joe, how do you feel that you made a name for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You
Wait,
you
where to go?
yeah, I want to know how do you feel that you made a name for yourself in powerlifting? How did you break through like, from that 22 where I was literally there and I had no idea who you were. I didn't even hear your name. I didn't even know anything about you. I wasn't even fucking there, I don't think, for that specific day. Um, and to you being on a podcast with me right now.
How did I break through? So I didn't force my way through. If
Yeah.
that was what you're basically
No,
asking. No,
no, no,
it
no,
just
no.
happened.
Yeah, I don't think you did it out of like I want to be a famous powerlifter. I think you
No,
just
no, no.
you got good
I,
at
I
something.
like
That's the answer I'm looking
yeah.
for.
I just like the little things, man. Just letting the results speak for themselves, and people just not hoarding around it, but just really paying attention to it because they're also doing something that they love. They love the sport, so I think it's a natural human instinct to just look at who the best in your field is going to be, and people just like to follow that and watch it around. So I think being able to put the numbers I put up and being able to get on podcasts, speak my mind, I can kind of set an example for others. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just didn't think this will ever be the way life would be. Like I didn't grow up like, oh, I'm gonna be a world class power lifter. People are gonna follow me. I'm gonna have like 40, 50,000 followers and me up. No, I didn't think any of that. It just kind of happened pretty fast in my opinion, because
You
like a
doubled
year and a half
down.
ago, I think fast. Yeah, and it was just like a year and a half ago at Nationals against Perk. I added 100 keys since then. Like it's been very, very fast and like a almost a skyrocket up into just the atmosphere, the stratosphere, and I'm still absorbing it. I'm still trying to take it all in, but hopefully, I'm responding pretty well to it too. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too off track, but
No, I don't feel like
I think
you're.
I'll be able to handle it well.
I think
Hey, go ahead.
I was gonna initially say I don't think you're being like super arrogant or anything, but I think that you deserve to have a little bit of confidence in yourself that people may see as arrogance if you are very good
Absolutely.
at something, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. We had the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans, and I think people in this sport that have not played any sport or done anything like that, when they see that for the first time in powerlifting, they treat it as a negative thing. There's already gonna be people. Me and Russ were talking about this the other day. We were like, um, do you think that they'll turn on Joe? Do you think that
Oh, they
if
will. If I warm it
Oh, it's
up, they
coming.
will.
Yeah.
like yeah,
It's
because
coming.
we've experienced it. Like if
Yeah.
you do it, because I remember like 2019, 2021, then people start. I'm tired of fucking these guys winning. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
then it starts becoming like this super combative thing, and then it kind of, but then and there's always I don't want to say his name. I'll tell you guys after. I got a audio message from someone who's been around for a while, and he said to me that he was basically giving props to the team, saying that like I've been like remarkably consistent, showing up at nationals with like multiple podium people like every single year since he started really paying attention in 2018, but I was doing it since before that. And I understand. I remember when I spoke to him in 2019 and he referred us to like the Patriots, right? And the Patriots have a shitload of haters, right? The Patriots are like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's why do I hate the Bills? Because Josh Allen's fucking good, right? And he's always beats up on the Patriots. So it's a normal thing that comes with sports. And when I was younger, and I don't know if you've experienced this, it seems like you skip that step because you're taking it very well. I used to get like not angry, but like disappointed that people would be tired of us doing a good thing or something. But then you have to understand that if you win, Joe, that affects the plan of like Delaney and Taylor and what they're able to do, right? That affects that. You literally have to take something from them. And I was telling Chris that, you know, winning when it matters is all the talking that you have to do. That's all the talking that you have to do. You don't need to say shit. It's cool if you want to say something, right? Like, go ahead, get your shit off, right? But at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of time and emotion that goes into the sport, and I think that's why, in a way, competitors respect each other because, dog, I know how much you put into this, and you didn't get what you wanted, but this is my time, right? And I think Russ showing up, being there, present to watch you lift, I felt like that was the most passing of the torch shit I've ever seen. And I think for him
Yeah.
to be able to say, bro, my body wants to be bigger. In 2022, when we did that Korea meet, I was really thinking about moving up then. I was really, really, really thinking about it. I was like, fuck, like we're leaving all this on the table. Like we could invest in this and do this now. I'm glad that we did it. I'm glad that we went through the experiences that we did. Um, we'll do one more like bonus 83 at World Games, I guess. But I didn't know we don't know how much time we have to be in the positions that we're in. I don't know how like I don't know if Russ knew. Like Russ probably thought. I mean, well, I'll tell you right now, we thought we were just gonna roll up, get that third world title, and then he's out, right? And that shit didn't
Yeah.
play out that way. But it was good for the sport for it to happen. It helped me evolve in a way that I did not at the time. Like you gotta understand what it's like to like work with a Russ. It is everyone is watching every single little fucking thing that you're doing. They're doing it to you right now. They're doing it to you right now. There's a kid somewhere that is looking at whenever you posted your posted training leading into your meets on the days that you would post them, and they're matching it up with the date, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get your split that way because they did it to
Every
me.
rep range,
They did it to
what
me.
what what priority day it is, all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're
Yep.
doing they're
Yep.
doing all of that, and there's like a lot of people doing it. And bro, I did a fucking Q&A one time on the IPF page, and they printed out the page in like a code form where like you had everything like as a piece of paper that you could take. It is, and that's the thing
That's
about being on the
wild.
internet, and it's very
Yeah.
interesting. It's very interesting seeing, um, and why are they doing that, right? Because they want that thing. There's a reason they're watching. There's a reason they're talking to you. Or they're watching you, and people want it for themselves. And I think I'm not saying like don't look at Joe and be like, oh, like you can't do that. You won't ever fucking know unless you try. You literally have to try. Yes, it's been happening super fast. You could say that his situation is he is a product of there's better information. He has passion for the sport. He has a little bit of genetics to help him as well, right? Not like like there's more crazy examples, but you have good enough genetics to help you get there, right? You have a very like I said, the deadlift is very solid, it's very secure. Not many people have a lift that they could go all out and you could just judge it on strength, right? You don't have to worry about no technical problems. You just literally it's like a lever and it's either gonna go up or it's not based on how much weight is on there. And that allows for you to be very consistent. So you put all those things together and you can get a very um special result. And I don't think people realize as somebody who like Russ held that position for a really, 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 really long time, and of course we got like we were suspended or whatever. We're changing federations. We had to do that, so we missed some things, and it was just like kind of annoying. Like it is what it is. But I think I mean my advice that was never asked for to someone in your position would be try to be like you said you try to take it all in. You really want to try to be present because for me, when you get caught up in this vortex, the amount of people that want shit from you every fucking moment of the day is like infinite, right? And you're just there's so many things. I will literally do somebody's block, sit down, lock the fuck in, 30 minutes, fucking perfect. Send it to them, and 36 hours later, I'll be at the gym and I'll be talking to someone. I'll be like, fuck, did I do that? You know what I mean? Because I just have there's so many, we're being pulled in so many different directions. And then I go check, I'm like, oh, fuck, I did it. You know what I mean? And you just want to enjoy, and that's why every time I go to Sheffield, it's like a vacation for me. Yes, I'm competing. Yes, I'm going on a big stage. Yes, 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 all these things. But I really try to take it in because I think not the first one, but the second Sheffield, I was so stressed that like I didn't like it came and went and like I felt like I wasn't even there. Like I didn't get to enjoy anything because I was so worried about like Jesus won the first one, we got to do it again, and I put so much pressure on myself and the rest of the team to kind of have this like how can I live up to that moment? We got to do that again. But then in the third Sheffield, I was like, dog, we're gonna have fun. Everybody's prepared, and I'm gonna enjoy my time. I had the most fun at the banquet I ever had because I actually tried. I said I don't even want to. We'll take a couple pictures, but I didn't. You know, like you're so worried about being on your phone taking pictures, you're not even there, right? And I really just tried to do that, and I hope for you, like I want Nats to be a great experience. I want you to go to Germany and be like, bro, I'm in another country, and I get to if I just execute, I can get that thing that I've been wanting to get, and it kind of takes the first one is always the one that you're just like you're never gonna forget it, right? Like I remember
Yeah.
Rusta's first world title, I remember Keiko's first world title, Jesus, everybody. The first one is just I don't know how to describe it, right? Like this team that we're bringing to this world, like you're gonna remember it, and it's gonna be a part of you, and then it becomes a part of like all the advice and the experience and everything that you give to all your lifters like going forward and to the people that you talk to and you just sort of you get to walk with gratitude and that's something that I truly feel that over the last couple of years I've really been able to embrace and you perhaps have got this from your faith at such a young age but I had to literally just like having gratitude in everything the good and the bad like yeah Russ fucking lost that worlds and it sucked but it was a moment it was a fucking moment that made people feel shit and then we got to get it back right it was I don't know. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm just being able to experience it. Like obviously, I deal with it with my lifters, but like see you, a young person coming up, experiencing a lot of these things for the first time. It is exciting for me, and I think in a way it keeps without the young generation coming in, it can kind of get like not dead or flat. It gets a little flat. It gets a little stale. But to see that excitement in the youth, it really it makes me feel like kids are watching and like we gotta I know you're Unc now, right? Like you said before we started the podcast, your Uncle
That's
Joe.
insane. A 22-year-old
Um
unk.
he's Unc and like, those 14-year-olds, like he's setting an example for them, right? He's probably spawning, Joe, you're probably spawning the next mutant 12-year-old right now is learning from you and they're gonna when they grow up they're gonna be fucked. Like they're gonna be doing like 950 right now. Like we don't even know what's possible, right? So
At
I'll
18.
hold myself. I ain't gonna be done by then. I ain't gonna be done by then.
he's
I'm taking this the wheels fall off, man. Nah,
he's like, come on,
I let
youngin,
it happen.
come on, youngins, go get this work. But yeah, it's just really cool to see you go through it from your perspective. Like there are things that I don't even need to say to you that I feel like you get, like especially during meet day. Like when you gave me that nod to Delaney, like bro, like you don't even need to say nothing. We understand on the look. Or you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that, but not everyone's
Yeah.
gonna understand that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's I was like, it's like a telepathic language. Like, oh, he
No.
understands.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, Joe's doing I know it takes a long time. I was actually in another group chat before this, and like the attention span of people today is so cooked. It's sad. But what Joe's doing, took his time to kind of give you what Joe's gave you was love. Like it's within the sport. Although you're on your side with your people and we're with our team, you can still have like pass on what Joe gave, and I thought it was a beautiful. It's beautiful to hear a coach like that just out of you're gonna be representing our country and things of that nature. Hear him speak from the heart and give you that because you're the one representing us now. You're representing our country, right? And also just for like potential legends in the game, also with the established legends of the game, we all see that you have that potential, and your story's just being written. So just to really understand, like I know a brother, it's time to get his message across sometimes, but it's all from a beautiful place. And with that being said, I wanted to segue into there's some things you guys mentioned that I think is important. One of them's a fun question. The first one I want to get to is um, competition.
Yeah.
Competition. I think and I like to preface real quick. Our community, people that don't, you come from sports, right? You said you did baseball for like a decade, right? You come from martial arts. There's a lot of important lessons to learn from that, from those sports, especially those two sports. And you, like Joey said, like we see the people in powerlifting that we just look at them, they look at us, and we don't gotta say shit. We know that we understand where we come from a certain culture, right? And understanding the background. There are people in the sport that they don't get it. They don't get it. They take it. It's good to take things personal in a healthy way and use it as motivation. But people will take competition and they will receive it unhealthily, and they'll take it in a very unhealthy way. They don't understand competition. So, just to look at this direct question real quick, what's your take on sports banter in the light of challenging each other? What's your take of sports banter and how you believe you handle it and would handle it? And also, what's your advice for people that maybe don't handle it correctly in the sport currently today?
Yeah, so I think that banter is like absolutely needed, especially at like the top end where everyone wants what everyone like. Everyone has the same goal, right? You want the world title. I want the world title. I can even use a very very small example as of recent. It was like Enaharo deadlift like triple or something, and he's like, can't wait to pull for the win. I took that shit personal. You know what I mean? I was like, I looked at it. I was like, all right.
It's
I
great.
commented. Yeah, I commented. I was like, all right. Can't wait to see 430. And that was
Yeah.
pretty much. I know he wasn't taking a shot at me directly. It was an indirect shot for sure. But I was
Did you
like,
comment that?
nah, it's just it ain't sit right with me because you saying you want something that I think I'm destined for. I'm gonna say something back. It's all
Right.
respectful. It's all within the sport. Like at the end of the day, it is powerlifting. It's in its own bubble. So I don't want to make it leak into my external life. Like just because
Yeah.
someone says I can't total 900 doesn't mean I'm gonna go yell at my wife now. You know what I mean? Like I,
You
I'm a,
understand what they said to me?
exactly. So I think it is oh hold up, the big body. We're having a big body.
Chris, you're.
Oh, that,
I'll text him.
shit. All right, I'm gonna keep going though.
Keep going. Keep
Uh,
going. You're
Yeah,
my.
so like I said, the banner is absolutely needed. Like I think it just makes you a better competitor. Iron sharpens iron. Like you need these other big dogs in the sport to keep you on your ass to make sure that you're locked in. I'm not saying that it's absolutely needed. Like when there's opposition very close to you, it makes you want to level up. Take for example your main man, Russ. No one was near him for how many years?
Yeah.
He might have been a little more relaxed, a little more chill on some certain sessions, or months at a time, where
Dude,
he
it's
could have been
not
on
good to be in that position because you just.
exactly.
Yeah.
Being such a big front runner is it just makes you too content where you at. Like I thrive off of even if the person's not like within 20 keys. Let's say they're 30 keys. In my opinion, that's too close. I can't. I don't know how fast they progress. I don't know if I'm gonna get injured. At all times, I have to be on my shit to make sure that nobody comes near me. And right now, I'm not in that position just yet. I think Ade's top end is right there with me. Obviously, Taylor's was right there with me. But regardless of how much I can beat the competition by, it's always important to just make sure that you're not leaving any room to breathe for the other competitors. And to specifically go back to the banner talk and making sure like not letting that take into or not letting that bleed into your real life or your personal life. You have to think objectively and almost like retrospectively that yes, this is a sport. As long as they're not taking any personal shots at you about your character, as in you being a man, for example, I think anything's okay, right? You can talk about them being overrated or them squatting high or them touching going their benches. That's fine. That's all within sports. I think anything could pass in that scenario or in that field. So yeah, if you can't take a little bit of banter or a little friendly battle, then you ain't in the right sport. I don't think you should be in sports in general. Because like even just growing up with my friends, just going to the gym with them, right? I was 14 benching 200 pounds. I saw them bench 150. I was like, oh shit, they catching up. I gotta step on the gas. So it's a combination of competitive nature and not being too full of yourself to think that everything's a personal attack out here.
You see
And
him
he's
now?
back. Look at it. Did he hear anything I said? That's the
I
real
heard
question.
No,
everything.
my laptop turned off, so I had to go on my phone. I got to charge it. I've been making
Shit.
hella blocks last night. Sorry.
Nice and
All good, all
prepared,
good.
baby. High in production. No, I agree. I
Yeah.
think that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. In my position, it gets fucking annoying, and I just ignore it because I don't even. I literally have so many more important things to think about. But I agree. It's also. I think it should be between the lifters. It's between the lifters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No coach could be like, I'm about to write this block better than you.
Well, well, well,
You know
well.
what
I
I'm
want to say
saying?
something.
Face over and you're
I'm
square.
gonna come over there. I'm gonna duke you. I'm gonna beat you and give you the elbow. Nah, like I think the reason why I asked the question, and I don't want to take too much time because I know you fully explained it, and my laptop turned off. But pretty much, I asked because I just want people to know, like, I know that people will feel uncomfortable because they don't understand it. But even for me, the way that I work, like, I still feel my players' drive and hunger and fire.
Yeah.
But I'm a coach now. I understand I'm a coach, right? I'm a coach first, but I still have what I had from my prior sports. I'm 32. Like, I'm not 55 and fully established and have decades in the game, and now I don't really got to say nothing. I'm fighting. I'm fighting too as a coach. I want to bury, and this is not like I want to bury other coaches for the sake of competition in the sport. If I had an opportunity to bury my brother on the platform, if I had a lifter that would beat his lifter, you don't understand. You don't
Oh, I
understand what
think
I would.
Grant was hoping Keiko missed so Meach could fucking pull something. Like,
You know what
I
I'm
know
saying?
he wanted to get that position.
And and I know that for him, he wouldn't care because he's like, bro, I got 18 world titles in the open. Like, what do you want from me? But my whole thing
Oh,
is
I
just
care.
it's the see, that's good though, right? It's competition. It's the element of
Yeah.
competition, and I want people to understand, like, you shouldn't be uncomfortable. You should take on challenges. You should understand what it means. If Joe Borenstein's telling Ina, the hell you talking about? You gonna pull that? Oh, okay, you gonna pull for the win? All right, bet. We'll see about it. It's not that they're saying like, oh, your mother's this and your wife is this and this. No, it's like, bro, it's just a sport, man. Like you guys turn things into something that it doesn't need to be. And it's like, bro, we're just competing hard here. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, right? You shake hands, you show love, and it's like, hey, bro, respect on the battlefield. Like, we put in the work, we work hard, we know what we do, and I just want that to be promoted in the sport. And I was saying this. I think I said this. I said this in my story the other day. People talk about, oh, powerlifting's not football, it's not boxing, it's not the UFC. But the whole thing is like, it's also not golf. It's also not like it's not these other sports where you're super quiet and stuff like that. I know on the IPF stage it's more quiet, but this last IPF world, it was jumping. It was crazy, right? So things are evolving. And I just want the community
I
and the
wonder
sport
why.
to know, like, what was that?
Nothing. I said I wonder why.
um, I just want the sport to understand it is okay to challenge each other. We don't gotta be like, you can be nice and formal and stuff outside of the sport, but it's all right to challenge somebody or get under someone's skin. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, if someone
Don't be
tells
coming at
you,
no
if someone's like,
families.
huh?
Don't be coming at no families.
No. But what I'm saying is getting under somebody's skin is like for instance, like if I tell somebody you need to make your attempts, you know what I'm saying? Your attempt selection is trash. That is in competition. That might hurt somebody, but it's not like I'm saying you're trash. It's not like I'm saying your family's trash. I would never say nothing like that. I'm saying you need to get better at something if you want to beat me or if you want to go head to head with me. And it's not in a disrespectful light. It's is it objectively true? If you go 6 for 9 the past 3 of your meets, you got to do something to better that. You got to elevate. You got to rise to the occasion. So, and also with that, if someone told me, "Hey man, I can't handle the competition. I can't handle the banter. It hurts me. Maybe I am sensitive. Could you stop?" If someone told me that, I'd be like, "No worries. I know you can't handle that. No problem." But for those that can handle it, I think it's okay to be a little tough skin and compete and really look, go at it. We're trying to be great, and that draws attention to the sport. We need that. You know what I mean? So I think whatever you and Ina got going on, Ina's one of our guys. He's a flex guy, but we don't take it no type of way. We're here on a podcast with you and we're chopping it up. So I just want people to see, like, bro, you can compete and it's gonna be all good. It's not like no one's coming at your life or personals or anything. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I would agree because like in powerlifting, there's only so many showcases you can bring out a year, right? So
Yeah,
you got to spice things up, man. Like
yeah,
at this point in the sport, there are fans of it, and I feel like having that back and forth banter in the comment section or on your story or something, that
it's
gives them
all
a
right.
little bit of life. It gives them more reasons to tune in. Like when me and Taylor were going at it in the comments, I'll see y'all in Germany when I was talking to Ade and Endurance, and then he responds back with, "Oh, in the stands," and I was like, "Bro, it ain't 2021 no more, or whatever." You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't gonna take it personally. I mean, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit, but I did like hop on my ass a little more. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I gotta really lock in. Like I can't. I missed my mobility last week. I gotta double down this week. If I miss
yeah,
10 grams of protein, I gotta
yeah,
go 15 today. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
having that back and forth banter, having or showcasing it to the world, and having all these people DMing me about it, like, "Yo, how do you feel about what Taylor?" I'm like, "Come on, I'm not gonna. What am I? I'm gonna hate the guy now? No, like this is
yeah.
powerlifting. He gonna do his 9 attempts. I'm gonna do my or 8 attempts in this case, but
We gonna see what's
uh,
good.
yeah, we chopped it up in person. You know what I mean? Like I dapped him up before the meet. I said, "Yo, what's up? You the goat." That was pretty much it. Gave his flowers even
Yeah,
before I warmed up. Like I went up to him, gave his dad a handshake, gave him a handshake, gave him a hug, and I was like, "I'm looking to put on a show with you because you're." I literally call him the greatest of all time
yeah,
before even weighing in. You know what I mean? So, being able to do that and then being able to lock in, see him warm up, being able to warm up in the warm up room by myself with my coach, going back and forth like that from bench press to deadlift, and then
yeah.
after the meet, seeing him, dapping him up, congratulating him. Because I know he had a new kid on the way as well. He didn't even want to release that news because he thought it would be a competitive advantage for myself and
Mm.
Delaney. Yeah, so like it was like playing chess out here between the comment section, between hiding training. Well, I don't hide no training. I'm an open book out there. If I
Yeah,
Bro,
you
fail
show it.
something,
I we could talk about that. What do
yeah.
you think about that?
Hey, you go ahead on that. I want to hear your perspective because I know Delaney hides his shit, and I know you're his coach. So I want to hear what you got to say.
I think that if you're having good training and you post it, it fucking demoralizes your ops, so you should post it. And I don't know, I don't know why people don't post it. Like, you're not, okay, I get why they don't post it. It's just, I've never been that way and I don't really care. And where it's not like we're doing, it's not like I'm writing a playbook in football that you're not going to see coming and I could get you with it, right? It's,
Yeah,
it's like, bro, this is what we're gonna. Keiko showed everybody what he was gonna do, and then he did it. You showed everybody what you were gonna do, and then you did it. I
Yeah,
don't I
I
don't
mean,
think you need to hide it. I think that when lifters hide their training, I personally think it's something within them that they're trying to protect or maintain when they don't post it. I think that only good comes from posting it. You get more views, you get your sponsors are happy, you could demoralize your ops, you could fuck with them. Like you could here's the thing though, when you post bad training, it could also empower them. Right? So you have to I just post everything. Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, um I think I don't know if it's that serious. Some people think it's a really big deal. As somebody who's done like infinity things in the sport, there are times when like the Avery kid against John Garcia, I didn't know shit about him, but I did know what he
yeah,
did his last meet in February, And I was like, I don't know much about him, but if he got that much stronger, I mean, hats off to him, and he just got that much stronger, you know? Competed WRPF, did a random meet, came over to us, blasted a big lift. We're still learning about him. You know, it is what it is. It's not that, um, like I said, if you pull something disgusting in the gym and you post that, like I think your opponents are either gonna lock in more. But fuck, I need to lock in more. I need to handle business, which is gonna make it better for everyone, or they're gonna like stop posting and like disappear, and then like show up on the day and just like kind of fizzle out. Like it's
I want
one of two
I
things
want
is
to
gonna
say
happen.
I want to say something, and this is to my own brother, right? And
Uh huh.
this Joe. I want to hear you. I want to. You can say if you want to say, but my whole thing is like I think it's. I agree with all the sentiments that Joe said. I agree 100%. I also don't think that there's anything bad with hiding your training. If you're like, I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. I'm working to provide every advantage that I possibly can. And there are coaches out there that I know from experience that when they have to make that call in 60 seconds or less, they don't do well with it. And the lifters also, there are specific lifters that you got to study your opponent. You got to know your opponent. And we're going against Joe Borenstein. We need to know this motherfucker is good for 900 plus. You need to know that. And it's hurt me. It actually hurt me for the first time at nationals just recently. And the difference was 2.5 keys. There was this girl came out of nowhere. I had absolutely no idea who she was. And I came in there with a plan that was set for my lifter's bench to hit a record. Had I had known that she was capable of what she was capable of, and as I was seeing what she was capable of in the moment, the difference in the margin was 2.5 keys, in which I made a mistake. I know a lot of coaches they don't talk about their mistakes and stuff because they don't want to damage their business. But I think it says a lot about yourself to not be insecure and have accountability and know like I have so many W's and accolades. So this one little mistake doesn't define my career. So that's why I'm saying that. I think that was the difference there, right? 2.5 keys. Also, this happened to Joe and Russ, right? This is not a disrespect to Jurens. They just weren't paying attention. They just weren't paying attention. It wasn't because they were disrespecting him or like, oh, he's not a factor. But the whole thing is that objectively in the past meet, you had not put up no numbers or stored no margin of progress to warrant our attention. That doesn't mean that we're disrespecting you. It's just statistically, you're not making those huge jumps. Then they brought in another coach into, right? And that coach, whatever, maybe had a notion, whatever, that helped his deadlift. There's a 36-year-old that we estimated somewhere was good for 22.5 kg progress on his deadlift between Euros and Worlds. That doesn't commonly happen, right? So when you hide your training, you just come out of nowhere. Everyone that was on that side that wanted him to win and overtake Russ, they see that Russ, and this is to the fault of my brother and Russ, and I love them to the end of the earth, but they just weren't paying attention, and it hurt them. And I'm making an objective, and Joe obviously knows. Had they have been posting that, I know Joe would have been like, "Hey man, what the fuck are we doing home? We got to get on our shit.
He
Let's go,
did
let's turn it
post
up."
it. I just didn't look at it. And I mean, there's a lot of things that went into that. Um, I guess we could talk about it a little bit since we're here.
Yeah, go ahead, defend yourself. Look,
I don't need to defend myself. You said it. I've already done so much shit in the sport. I could fuck up once in a while,
or
and
speak
I don't
for
give a fuck.
yourself. You speak for yourself.
Um,
Speak for yourself.
we did underestimate him. We didn't think that we needed to be as locked in as we were. Russ came in when he flew in the day before. We actually were gonna get there a little sooner, but he had a flight problem, and he went to the airport, and then he had to go back home, and then he had to go back again the next day. And he literally
Yeah,
got there. We went to the store. I got everything he needed for his weight cut, and we had to compete the next day. And I looked at him like with the shirt off when he was weighing in, and I was like, "Bro, he is
it looks
small.
flat.
We're
Yeah.
fucked. Like, what is happening right now?" And that just there's a time frame where you need to lock in during international travel, and that did not happen. And I could have been on him more. I granted this was and I will admit this was Crandon's first Worlds, and I am extremely hands-on with Crandon when it comes to like we don't have a nutritionist that could come with us that could handle all that stuff, right? There's a lot of things about me and hers coach lifter relationship that I take on as like a load, and Russ being my vet, I'm like, bro, we're coming in, you don't really have competition, joke's on me. Um Even if he fucking misses a squat, he should still get it. That didn't happen, right? I actually think that if he got the squat, he would have won, and I could explain why. But because their jumps would have been different on deadlift, and he would have,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he could have held that. There goes Chris again. Um, but it's one of those things where
What the hell is going on?
you're back. I actually think that when I do things like that, there's like, what's the goal after that, right? We're gonna get to Sheffield. In my mind, I'm like, we're still getting to Sheffield. So like, if Russ will tell you, I don't like competing 8 weeks like that because he's
Yeah,
so
neither no
heavy.
one does.
Yeah, I
Quick
mean
turnaround.
for him being heavy and then having to cut down, and then like if he just shoots back up and he has to cut down again, that's how you lose progress. You shoot your weight back up and you have to diet back down. You shoot your weight back up and you diet back down. If you do that because of we weren't disciplined, then you literally lose lean tissue when you do that. So that happened. Got a little wake up call. Said, okay, let's lock the fuck in. It's probably time to move up, but let's get it back at Sheffield. All that mattered was January 26th. We locked in. He came in disgusting. His squat
Yeah.
was flying off his back.
Crazy
And,
powerful.
I was up with the girls doing their thing. You guys delivered Russ to me warmed up. I saw him go out there and I was like, oh, we're handling business today. I turn around. I see Grant. Grant's like up the attempts, up the attempts. So I'm like, fuck it, we're going up two. We're going up two. We're two more than normal, whatever. And then he hits what he hits. So it was just a little wake up call. We had been doing this for a really, really, really long time. He's in everything there is to do except for this, and you know, it was maybe I was more worried about getting people to World Games. Maybe, I don't know. There was a lot going through my mind that day, but I just think that there was a combination of so many factors adding together. And if you were building a playbook on how to beat Joey Flex, right? Right? Like how Batman has the fucking contingency on how to beat every superhero. If you think about when Keiko has lost, what happened that day? Nationals was exactly the same time. I was literally going into prime time with Russ at the same time that Keiko was lifting over there, and I'm on the laptop on the phone
That was tough.
trying to talk to whoever's handling him. Like, you guys need to change the attempts because you don't have enough time to do this. Like, it has to be this number, and I'm throwing. They're literally 5,000 miles away, probably more. I don't fucking know. They're literally in Sweden. I'm in Vegas, right? If you
That was South
spread
Africa.
South Africa, even worse, even fucking way
Yeah.
worse. If
Yeah.
you spread me out like that, where I'm physically, like I have a lot of shit going on at the same time, and I don't have now. And what did we do after that? I said we got to get Grant on that level. We got to get Chris on that
Yeah.
level. We got to get Will on that level. We got to get Mikey on that level because I need to be in more than one place at the same time, right? And that shit doesn't happen anymore. And then we have like a Nats where everything's like smooth. But I'm glad. It's like I said, what me and Russ went through, it allowed me to reach a point for myself and in the sport that is even more durable than I ever thought it could be, right? Because and Joe, you will probably hear me say it, and I don't know if you'll be able to understand it. I mean, you might be able to like contextualize it like in your mind, and it'll make sense, but like until you feel it, um, it may not hit as hard. But when you become a champion, you become a world champion number one. Obviously, the target is kind of on you right now. It's starting to get like it's like coming over from Russ and it's turning more towards you now, right? It's on you. The more that you stack those championships, you're building this tower, the Jenga tower. And it goes champion number one, chip number two, you win a Nats, you win a Worlds, you get more following, right? Your following goes up, your stock goes up. It becomes this big, tall tower. And the higher that tower gets, and the more competition that comes, that tower starts to like it sways at the top. It just can't go vertical. It has to like you need to like reinforce that foundation before it can continue to go higher. And over time, when you have so much of this, like if in the modern era of Russ and Joey Flex existing, we're undefeated, right? I mean, we lost against Gibbs, but that was like he wasn't as big as he was at the time, and neither was I, so it was like whatever. Um, and then we go on this tear. When you do finally like lose once, all this fucking shit of the tower coming down is like releases all this like fucking pressure and like this stress. As much as I want to say I can handle all the stress in the world, it just subconsciously even like it's like, bro, we already fucking lost. Like, what is there to lose now? We just gotta lock in. We could be free. Let's do whatever we want to do. That's why going 93 is fun because it's like, bro, who gives a fuck? We don't. You're coming up. Like, you don't have the title. Like, who cares? Like, we're just we can. It's easy to fight up. Believe it or not. I don't know if you know that, feel that way, Joe, but like, if you're the young kid coming up, the excuse is, bro, you're the young kid coming up. You get to fight up. We're trying to fend people off of us. It's not just Joe. We
From
have
the
to fight
top,
off
yeah.
Taylor. We have to fight off all these people. You know what I mean? So it's like all that pressure is gone, and now we can lock the fuck in and be like, not only that, but Russ is like very good when he's pissed because he's like, okay, let me be on my shit. If he would have done nationals and Jurgens would have called him out and be like, you ain't fucking no way in hell you doing that shit at Worlds. You're fucking trash. This shit's gonna be high as fuck. I'm about to smoke you. Russ would have been like, Joey, give me the death plan. Fuck this shit. That would have been completely different. But because it wasn't like that, it was just kind of lackadaisical, whatever. I'm thinking we don't need to bring our best package to this meet. Let me allocate my resources to other areas. Look what happened with Cranon. She did fucking phenomenal. We got Alba to World Games. Alba's performance at Junior Worlds was part of it was me being like, I'm upset with what happened at Worlds. We're taking best lifter male and female, and we did it with Alba and Regan. You know what I mean? That was me sort of like putting like I gotta make this up. I gotta make this up somehow. And she hits the 554 or whatever. Um, but it's so as Joe was saying, it's good to have that. It's good to have that uh the tension in a competitive way, but also if you like shake the bee's nest, like objectively, Russ is better when the bee's nest is shaken. It is. If he can have, even if it's not public, but if between me and him we know he has a chip because of something small that happened, he's gonna be so much better than like Joe, you might have this because you're younger, and I think younger guys they want to prove it. I need that title. I need that fucking world title. And I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
prove it to you guys. I'm taking that shit out of your fucking hands. You know what I mean? And then once you've done it like 1,000 times and no one can test you, I mean, it starts to get. Bro, look at. I could bring up so many examples in fighting.
But Joe
Um,
squared, Joe squared, Joe
all
squared.
right, that's both of
So
us. Oh shit.
so just to you know, you didn't have like I'm not trying to put you on a guilt trip or nothing,
No,
right?
I
I'm
don't
more
feel
so
that at
showing.
all. I'm good. I'm
No, I
chilling.
know. I
I'm
mean, I'm
just
not. I'm
providing
not saying that you
the
are. I'm
exclusive
not
here
saying.
on the pod.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying figuratively by that, but also I'm explaining for the listeners and viewers that
We'll try to real quick. We'll try
um
to cut it in like 10 minutes because I know it's already been long. But
yeah,
Joe, I
100%.
appreciate you being here.
But
All good.
yeah, the question was because you asked Joe, what do you think about hiding your training? So as we get back to that to finish that off, those are legitimate instances where they have paid off.
He
It's
didn't hide
you
it
hide
though.
your
I didn't
training,
look at it. He didn't hide
but
it.
it's a no. He Jurgens doesn't show his best work in his preps.
All right, give him another 10% on that. We just got to beat that. That's it.
Yeah, and I know that we know how to gauge and read that, but the point that I'm saying is the fact of not seeing it, you could also relate to like hiding your training. That means you're not seeing it,
Hold
and
on,
those
Chris.
are
Hold
instances.
on. Joe, do you ever look at your ops and rep their singles, rep their work?
No. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I know you're talking about Russian bench, right? I did not do that. Okay, I record my shit. I recorded a bench double. I had it. It was in my camera roll. I see Russ post his shit, and then I'm like, oh damn! I look like I just
Bro, we
fucking
do
chipped his
that though.
bench.
No, we do that.
I don't. I did it on Russ's accident, and everyone's like, "Damn, you just
Competition.
double Russ's bench." I was like, "Nah, bro."
No,
It's
I didn't do
competition.
it's good. It's
it,
No,
good.
but
and I
look,
chipped my 2.5 too. I was like, fuck. I was like, I didn't do it on purpose. It is what it is. I did it with
yeah.
Taylor on
I thought he
accident
did that
as
shit on
well.
purpose. I was like, bro,
But
look
Joe,
at this
Joe,
shit.
Joe, if
Look at this
Joe, if you
motherfucker.
Joey Bones, if you did it on purpose, that's fine.
No, it's good.
I'm gonna do it on purpose now,
Hack
but
and
like,
Russ used to do it all the time. They used to do it all the time.
I can't go
Yeah,
over the weight now, man. I got the plan set before the block even starts, but I got these weights that I know I'm gonna hit. It's gonna
yeah.
trail me up to my big week 4.
You got your
I'm a
pace set.
robot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know exactly how I'm gonna feel from week to week because every variable outside the gym is locked in. So if something feels off, I know it's the training. I know it's the program. So we
yeah.
adjust, we adjust accordingly. And like I said, like I got every weight planned out from now till Worlds. Like I know what I'm doing. And then after Worlds, I'm gonna do the
Love
same
that.
thing from until Sheffield. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have every fucking little variable planned out from the reps, the weights, the accessories, everything, and I'm gonna just follow it like a fucking robot. So
8 weeks is
That's
clean to
great.
map out. 8 weeks is clean.
yeah,
You could really control it in those, and sometimes, like with Keiko, like it feels really, really good to update the sheet with the higher numbers, and then on the day, like on the day of the meet, you're like, bro, these thirds, like we could go up. It feels
Hmm.
like it is just like it's euphoric when that happens. But
yeah.
that's like a little nerdy like programming thing. It's just it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it's like with Garcia's bench, I was like, oh shit, 185 is too easy. But yeah, it's to have it refined like that is something that I think some of my lifters like Russ really likes having the numbers. Some don't like it. Like some of the girls, like I don't know, they just like they see it and they go, ah, that's like scary. Like I don't want to hit that. You know what I mean? Like I just what if I don't feel good? You know what I mean? And their mind just starts exploding because they look at the week and they're like, how am I supposed to hit that? But over time, you start to learn the patterns. And I think I wanted to ask you, Joe, do you do you feel that you have like are your lifters like because they're probably younger? They're do you deal with a good amount of neuroticism in your coaching day to day, or do you feel like you have people that I'm actually not too sure. For me personally, usually when people come to me, it's like your friend. I get to work with Joey. I'm gonna do whatever he says. Like I'm not gonna question shit, and it's like great. That's good. Takes a long time to get there. I am actually very curious to know you. I'm sure you have that too. You have young kids that are like, bro, I get to work with Joe Borenstein. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do whatever the fuck he says, and I'm not gonna question it. And you might have other kids that they're they're like you're telling them to do something, and they're like bumping heads with you.
Yeah, well, it's a combination. I think like I say the majority of them are they're very bought into the program and what I got to
Yes,
say.
super
But then
important.
I have some that just like to understand why, and then I'll give them entire breakdowns. And then I got some that just be like, okay, I'll do it. Like they don't even want to know why. And I'll try
Yes,
to tell them why.
yes.
They're like, ah, no thanks. I'm good with it. You know, I'm all right. I mean, do you, man?
Yeah.
Personally, I like to know every little meticulous detail in my own programming.
Yes, yes.
Well, me and my coach program, it's like a combination type of thing. Like he gives you like you hop on a call, we go back and forth, we design the entire program together. But yeah, I have some athletes as well that just continue to ask questions and have their own inputs that aren't, I'd say, methodically thought out enough, and they want to
Yeah,
change
yeah,
one of the variables, and they don't let the program play out first before wanting change. And I'm
yep,
like, well, we need an extended period of time to collect this data and then build off of it, right? We can't just make neurotic day-to-day decisions, changing shit up, and then not understand why things are working or why things aren't working. And then it's hard to play into a fact that like not everyone's locked in outside the gym, especially with my younger athletes that go to school, they got, two jobs or they got an extracurricular or something. It's very, very difficult to pair all those extra variables and the neuroticism
yeah,
because at that point I'm like, all right, like as a coach now, I'm struggling to pinpoint what's actually working, what's not now, because you keep
yeah,
telling me different things. You keep changing shit up on your end. You're not sleeping enough. You're one night's sleep, you can have 10 hours. The other night you have 4. And you're not even telling me like fishing for data is the most annoying fucking thing I gotta do because they don't want to tell you that I slept 4 hours. They don't want to say that, or they don't want to say they missed their meals.
Accountability.
Exactly.
Chris
So
actually had an experience where it was sort of like he was recalibrating based on what was happening in training, but he didn't have
yes,
all the inputs or what was making him do that. He's telling me this, and I'm like, dude, until you fucking get like shit cemented, you're like you keep adjusting the crosshairs, but the target keeps moving every time you start to settle, right? And
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
it's very tough because in that instance it was like I'm like, this works every time. Why is it not working now? This cannot be the programming. And then I come to find out, like, literally, like 8 months later, oh well, I intentionally lost weight, and my life was really stressful, and oh, by the way, I was doing like, you know, 12 to 8 hour shifts, lifting 50 to 100 pound boxes and stuff, and it's just like, man, that's happening on your primary whatever day lift. It's like if I had known that. And but the thing is too is that sometimes young lifters, they don't know what real fatigue feels like. Right?
yeah,
They might be so sensitive that they get a little bit of fatigue or a little bit of uncomfort. And they don't know that you can safely work through that through certain protocols, right? Or or just whatever the case may be. And they don't even know that, like, oh, what I'm I'm supposed to eat these certain set amount of macronutrients. I'm supposed to get this much amount of sleep. The little things that they don't know, and if they don't know that, it's really hard as you as a coach because you could program correctly, but it's just like or guide correctly, but it's like you didn't even know that you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and this is why it's screwing up predictability and our ability to navigate your progress. So
yeah. I think programming is so easy. I mean, you have to know anatomy, you have to know physiology, and certain staples within like programming methodologies. But all you have to do is look at trends and build off that. It's that simple in my opinion. But then if that trends are fucked up because of external variables, it makes your job nearly impossible in my opinion. Unless they're very communicative and they're actually trying to share what things they're not supposed to be doing. Like I got some athletes out, they'll tell me I failed my top set, and I'll try to fish out why. And then sooner or later I find out they were drinking the night before. Well, no one wants to be ashamed of themselves and come at you with that
they won't
knowledge. And
admit that. Yeah.
exactly. I get why. I understand it. Like you don't want to admit that you're doing wrong, but if you're paying somebody $100, $200 a month,
You
you should
gotta
be
be
as
accountable.
lying to your doctor about smoking. You know what I mean? Like, why would
Yeah.
you do something like that when they're there to help you? And
Yeah.
obviously, I'm trying to get my athletes to a better lifestyle, and I'm gonna be hard on them. But at the end of the day, you work for them. You know what I mean? Like, if they tell you they can't work out on a certain day, you have to work around that. I'm not gonna be like, no, quit your job and train instead. No, that's not my job. I'm not. That's not my place in this life. But if you can give me as much data as possible with your life, we can work around it and we can make the objectively correct responding decision afterwards. And if I don't get that data, it's you're just making my job and your life a lot fucking harder. So
there was something that I wanted to touch on when you were explaining that. Oh, you were saying programming. Yes, I do believe that. When it comes to programming, I do think the skill of the program comes more so in the adjusting it to the lifter to get a better result from them. That being said, assuming that programming is easy to get, would you agree that finding a coach that is really going to be able to take you to that next level is going to come down to whether or not you feel like they get along with you, if you vibe with them, if you can communicate
boy,
with them and have some sort of a trust with them, that as opposed to they have this secret block that if I have this block, it's going to get me, these rewards.
I think buying into the coach and being able to build a bond with them is the number one thing. Because I mean, yes, certain coaches have better methodologies. I'm not saying that's a fact.
Yeah.
But with the knowledge we have now, everyone should, or every top level coach should know how to program pretty effectively. Whether or not that athlete buys into that program is the true question. Like you can give somebody a copy and paste that program, and if they buy into you, they really trust you,
Bro, they're
and
going to get
they
results.
yeah,
Like,
they're gonna get stronger. Like the mind is such a powerful thing. Like if you don't think it's not gonna work, it ain't gonna work. It's that
It's not
simple.
gonna
You know
work.
what I mean?
belief is
So
such a powerful thing. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to have faith in your coach and in the plan that you set out. So that's why I like to communicate the entire plan of the macro cycle or whatever meso we're in at the time. Like, I want to give them an idea of what I'm thinking so they can kind of manifest it in their own brain and try to wrap their head around it. I'm not saying that they can know programming with the ins and outs that I do, but at least giving them a surface level understanding of what I want from them, that could definitely help and allow them to buy in further. But you have
Yeah,
some athletes like that just don't that they don't fuck with you, you know what I mean? And you got to send
yeah,
them off somewhere else, and
yeah,
that's okay. You're not going to be here for everyone, and I can admit I'm not for every other person. Not everyone's going to be working well with me. I like to think I have a broad reach of
Mm.
people I can work with, but there's
right.
always one or two people that just can't get along with you, and that's okay. You have to be
Yeah.
okay with dropping somebody and letting them go somewhere else.
And to that bit, I also want to just make, I know we're going to get out of here, but with program, I think it's really important for people to understand within the sport that there are some really great coaches. Like we have some very great coaches that I know. And you guys, obviously, what you guys are doing with you and Coach Luke,
Yeah, Luke.
Coach Luke, shout out. You guys do great work. And there are rare cases where you have the young coaches out there that are doing phenomenal work and putting out big results. But I think it's not talked about how programming is a skill set. It's like an art. It's a language, right? And a lot of times, what the young kids don't understand, and I'm not trying to, again, don't take it personally when I say the young kids, but is that, like, for instance, Coach William squats. I have him do my programming because he's very good. He knows my body. He's the only coach that, I mean, I've had Joe programming one time for a prep, and that was good. But Joe, in my mind, I'm like, Joe has the craziest stacked roster. I don't want him wasting time with
The
me.
amount of people that probably think that, I mean, I do have a crazy roster, but it's like
Well, no.
they
But
don't
what I'm
even
saying
want
is,
to try because it's like, oh well, he fucking
no,
works
no,
with
no.
Russ. He
But what
doesn't
I'm
want
saying,
me.
what I'm saying is that could be one more valuable roster spot that he could give to someone that needs it. Versus, I know what I'm doing, but I delegate my programming to Coach Will because he knows me, and also we also talk same way that you and Luke work. We talk about what is our next moves within the micro and mesocycles. And with that being said, there's a skill and a real thing to be said about how coaches are great about making the little small tweaks, those
Yeah.
little small adjustments, and how they go a long way, right? And they just know your body. They know they know your trends. They know your personality type. They know your mindset. They know your lifestyle. They just know you, and they benefit you well. I have athletes that I've been thankfully working with. Some of them I'm looking at, I'm like, damn, it's gonna be 6 years I've been working with some of these guys.
Give me one
And
second. Real quick. I'm putting myself on mute. I'm going to the bathroom, but I'm gonna take you with.
you're good, you're good. And so pretty much it's just like there's a lot to be said for how important it is to know that there's real special coaches with talent, with experience, and you're not always gonna get that from the readily available, information that's out there. It's gonna pay huge dividends to hire a coach that really knows what they're doing, has proven results. Like, do you want to just go off a YouTube university, or if you're trying to win a world title, do you want to make sure you further guarantee that job by someone that's proven? And like, I would love to one day work with the Joey Flex or whatever the case. If I had world capabilities, right, world level capabilities. But I'm saying all this to say respectfully that there is levels to this. Like, there's programming, and then being able to coach that programming and be able to guide individuals. So I think that those are some real important aspects that's not understood about the game today, and I just thought it was important to make sure that was shared.
Yeah, I agree. I think that and try not to take no one should take it personal. It's just like you could have two people saying the same thing, but sometimes people just need to hear it from someone else, and it kind of feels weird. It makes you feel like, wow, like what's wrong with me? Why aren't they listening to me? Um, but it just kind of is what it is. We talk about the grass is greener mentality. People look over there and it seems greener over there. It seems better over there, but that may not necessarily be the case. But at the end of the day, you got to have that buy-in. You got to trust your program. You got to trust your coach. And I think if you have all those things and over time you can find the little thing, little like with Keiko, great example, little tweaks to a split. little tweaks to certain accessories, little tweaks to how he do his taper, little tweaks to nutrition, and you get all those half percents, and then you get a big a big a big increase on the total. Um, but yeah, Chris, is there anything that you really any burning questions you really wanted to ask Joe before we call it? Because
No,
about
no, we've been on here for a minute. I know
about
he's got. We got to
about
get
two
it. We
minutes
all got
and
to get out of
yeah,
here.
yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All
Thank
good.
you, Joe, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, well, what do we got? 8 weeks?
I believe no, it's less than that now. It's like 6 and couple days at this point. Yeah.
Are you gonna stay the whole week and go to the banquet, or are you dipping out immediately after?
I'm dipping out 2 days after. So I'm gonna watch the 93s and then I'm gonna dip out and do my honeymoon with my wife in Spain.
Nice.
So
Nice, nice,
yeah.
nice.
Congrats. Congrats.
Excellent, excellent. Very good. It's gonna be a fun time, man. I'm gonna be there early. I think I get there the 9th or the 10th. Um,
Wait, hold on, that's not. Are you sure? I think I compete on the 11th, so that's not too early, right?
I'm there all
Yeah.
the way to the 16th.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I got
I'm
Yeah.
getting there the 3rd, so I'm showing
Oh
up.
snap. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
good. Did you book your hotel already?
Yeah, I booked everything, got the flights already. Just gotta find out where the training hall is because I need to do my whole week of training. So
Yeah, we're gonna lock that in. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Um, you can find Joe Borenstein at Joe
Joe
Borenstein
Borenstein
on Instagram.
on Instagram.
Um,
Yep.
yep, yep. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.